Shin pads are a footballer's best friend, even if players like Jack Grealish do wear such small ones you can barely even see them. But what's the story with shin pads, and are there any rules on how big they should be? It all started with cricket, actually. Cricketers had been wearing shin pads since the 1700s. They'd been introduced not for leg protection, but instead to give batters a strategic advantage. The idea was that batters could put their leg pads in front of the wicket if they missed the ball, preventing them from being bowled out. Obviously, that all changed when the LBW rule came in, but that was the theory behind them. It was thanks to this guy that shin protection made its way over to football. Meet Samuel Widdowson. He was a cricketer and a footballer. He played for Nottingham Forest back in the late 1800s, and he wanted a way to protect his legs from nasty tackles. Apparently, he'd broken his leg in a match against Sheffield United in 1874 and wanted to stop it from happening again. Naturally, his mind drifted to his other favourite sport, where players had been wearing these pads. Story goes, Widdowson cut up his cricket pads, sewed them into his socks and popped them on before taking to the footy pitch. Ta-da! Shin pads. Like all great genius inventors, everyone took the mickey at first. To be fair, he probably looked quite stupid running around with these on. But it's thought his whole Nottingham Forest team then began wearing them from 1887, and the first known use of them in a match was in 1894, in a match between Newcastle and the then Woolwich Arsenal. Eventually, FIFA clocked on that this protection was pretty important for footballers. Multiple studies have shown wearing shin pads clearly reduces the risk of players getting lower leg injuries. And so in 1990, basically 100 years after Widdowson first put them on, shin pads were made compulsory. It became a part of Law 4 of IFAB. That's the body responsible for setting the laws of the game internationally. But the law doesn't actually specify anything about measurements of shin pads. It just says pads must be made of a suitable material and be of an appropriate size to provide reasonable protection. It's really vague, and players can get away with a lot. A lot of grassroots clubs are choosing to ban micro shin pads for obvious reasons, though, especially after a 15-year-old player from Penistone Church broke his leg while wearing them. Still no change from IFAB, though. That's why Grealish and co can still get away with these ones, which are no bigger than a credit card and which seem to offer little to no protection whatsoever.
Good evening and welcome to the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT with me, Flex, and broadcaster Spurs fan Abbi Summers. She's going to be with me for the next 3 hours. I don't know how this is going to go. I can't believe this. I can't believe this is what's happening.
Have you had enough of me? You've been with me.
From one podcast to the next. Honestly, it's going to be insane. It's a new look Spurs team. As pre-season rolls on, we'll work out their new midfield, where they need to improve, and could Christian Romero be heading to Arsenal? Shades of Sol Campbell. We're going to talk Liverpool as well after Indoni Iraola. He questions the team's fitness as a consortium as well, including Amazon's Jeff Bezos is looking to buy a 30% stake of the club. Also, Marcus Rashford returns to the squad as Manchester United play Leeds on Wednesday night in Dublin. We'll look at Chelsea, Man City and West Ham, as today it's emerged that they are linked with Jamie Vardy. Could there be a Premier League return for him? All that and loads more. This is the Transfer Insiders right here on talkSPORT. We're on until 10 p.m. We've got a lot to get through, so I'm going to need you to lock in.
I'm locked in. I'm so locked in. So locked in with you. 3 hours together. What more? What more could I want?
I know, right? This is what dreams are made of. Spurs, you've been saying after what happened last year
and the year before,
Thank you. That you just can't wait to see them play. You can't wait for the season. You're really excited.
Yeah, I don't know where this hopium's come from. I feel like I was so traumatised after last year in particular. You'll never understand. You'll never ever be able to comprehend what I experienced, what this fan base experienced. And it's not even like a pre-season thing. I know we joke about it, but I'm really not reading too much into pre-season. Obviously, the Chelsea game was good, but apart from that, I just think it's like we have a whole new look. I think there's new energy. I get to see De Zerbi in full De Zerbi mode because I don't really feel like we saw that at the back of last season. He came in to do a job, keep us up, which I was sceptical about. I didn't know if he was the right man that could do that for 7 games. I was worried about, he's got a particular style and him implementing that. So we didn't really see it. He just got the job done with what we had, which was not much in terms of the injuries, but we've been good. It's as if we have struck oil, gold under that stadium.
Everything all in one.
Yes.
Well, there's going to be a lot of Spurs coming up in this section, so you can let us know, your hopes and feelings for the season. You start to stake a claim. You spent a lot of money, so there's a lot of expectations. So you've got to start sort of predicting things and coming on strong because you're not going to be 17th again.
What is it you'd like me to predict? I feel like you want me to say we're going to win the league.
No, of course I don't want you to be that silly.
Okay.
But I just want you to. What we don't want is sort of all this money spent, all of this excitement to see the team, but there's no sort of claim behind it of what you expect from the team. So do you know what? Let's start with the business you've done so far.
Okay. Well, it's good.
It's a good business.
It's very good business. I think the
money has been spent.
Money has been spent. I mean, I think we were actually together, weren't we, when they dropped 200 million in basically 24 hours on Tonali and Mateus Fernandes. Look, it's a lot of money. I didn't expect it to come from my football club, who've always been pretty tight when it comes to opening the purse strings, but we needed it. We needed a whole new look, a whole new defence, which we'll get onto. Midfield that had legs, that had passing ability as well. We've got that. Prem proven players as well. So I can't knock them because what I've always said is that Tottenham haven't been shy when it's come to spending over the years, but they've been shy when it's come to actually paying the correct money and the fee. I know there'll be a lot of people that are critical or have a lot to say about the price tag of Mateus Fernandes, 85 million pounds, 100 million for Tonali with add-ons. It's a lot of money, but you're talking about a team in Tottenham who nearly went down. It went to the last day. You could not afford, as an ownership, as a hierarchy, to allow that to happen. Again, you stayed up by the skin of your teeth. So you had no choice but to go and invest and be like, this club, for all the concerts and stadium tours and F1 tracks and everything, that is no good if the football on the pitch and what it is at its core is a football club, which I think the hierarchy, ownership, I think everyone who's ever listened to me anywhere knows what I feel about the ownership and ENIC in particular, but they forgot that this is a football club at its core and you had to start reinvesting in the right ways on the pitch, and they've done that and I'll give them credit for that. It hasn't undone the years of mismanagement that they've put before them, but it's good. And I actually think the free signings, getting Senesi on a free or getting Andy Robertson, who probably, I don't really expect him to start, but just having the experience and having someone that has the mentality of where the standard and the bar should be.
Yeah, because it's been missing for so long.
It's been
Spurs,
gone,
hasn't it?
Been gone.
I mean, I think for what it's worth, from the position that Spurs have been in, back-to-back 17th, total embarrassment. So many injuries, turmoil at the club.
Yeah.
Nearly got relegated. You had to spend like this. You had to, and you had to change the strategy whereby you're offering the big wages, you're in the conversations for the big transfer fees. At what point are Spurs going to sort of change their recent fortunes Europa League triumph aside? So I'm not going to sit here and be like, for Mateus Fernandes, not really sure about him. As a United fan, I wanted him. I think he's brilliant. Tonali, I think he's brilliant. I definitely think Van Heck with 1 year left on his deal, 50 million, etc. You can argue about the price, but what is value for money in this market with a lot of players going for way beyond, and the player knows the manager very, very well, and vice versa. And like you say, with Senesi and Robertson in there, it looks like a good fundamental core to then go and build upon, because you still need other signings.
We're not done. We're absolutely not done. To undo what has been done over the past, let's go. Yeah,
you're going to way
5 to 10 years.
Because Spurs is still a real thing. That you could spend all this money and things might not change that much. That just could happen.
They will change.
How are they going to change?
I will happily go on record and say I do not believe that Tottenham will be in a relegation battle.
Yeah.
I will happily say that.
Will they be on page 1?
Well, that's my personal target. I know you want me to say.
I don't. No,
I
know
what you do.
No, I don't.
You forget we work together basically every day,
saying,
right?
do you think they're going to be on page 1?
I'd like to be on page 1.
Do you think they will?
I don't even mind if I'm number 10 on page 1. I just don't want to keep scrolling.
Why can't they push for Europe?
They can push for Europe, but my personal target, and people might have an opinion on my opinion, but when you've been at the bottom and almost at the very, very bottom, for me, my target this season is top half finish, and I would love a cup. Is that too much to ask for?
Everyone changing them, but God, look to get in Europe that money.
Yeah, we can look to it, but that's not my sole focus.
Right, okay.
Am I going to remember the season we finished 7th or finished 6th? No, not really. I remember the seasons where we actually won something, which in all honesty, in my lifetime, it's not many, but I remember those moments. So for me, my target is always going to be winning a trophy. I can't see that Tottenham are going to, well, all right, I won't write them off, but I can't see a world where they go and challenge for the league anytime soon.
Okay.
So what's a realistic target for a team like Tottenham? Yes, being in the top 4, or yes, having European football. And I always say, and I stand by what I said that time when we didn't actually get top 4. That's that first season where we needed to beat City. Was it for Arsenal to win the league? And we didn't. Son 1-1.
Yeah, and you guys were all happy.
I was happy.
And Ange questioned the whole ethos of the club and said, "This is what I mean about these guys. Bunch of losers.
I have many.
It's like losing.
He loved losing as well.
Oh, all right.
He loved losing as well. Did he not?
Got your trophy, mate.
He loved losing.
See, ungrateful.
I'm not ungrateful. He loved losing, and I'll forever be grateful to you and your team for giving me my trophy.
You don't need
my
something.
First trophy in 17
give it to
years.
someone who can have more use with it. That's what I was.
Which is what we did. Which is what we did.
Can we talk about your captain?
Oh, you want to go in that already?
Can we talk about
12 minutes in, yeah?
Well, we've got to talk about it.
Let's go.
There has been some rumours, some salacious rumours.
Salacious gossip.
He could be interested in a move to Arsenal. There is a little bit of update, which I'll tell you in a couple of minutes, but that can't happen, can it?
Well, no, it can't happen in it.
But what about the fact that the rumours that he potentially wants to go there? Like,
well,
do you think that's true?
Rumours say, the streets are saying, that apparently he was very happy to go to Arsenal. He'd sanctioned it. His camp was all on board with it. Which doesn't it tell you everything about Romero as a club captain anyway? I'm very, very open about the fact that I dislike Christian Romero as a club captain. I really do. I think
why? What is it about?
What is it about him?
Yeah.
Apart from the numerous suspensions and missing 8 games last season when you're in a relegation battle, or the crying because he's going to, potentially not play for Argentina in the summer, turning up late to training. There's many things that I could point as to why I don't like Christian Romero. You know, when we talk about just now setting the standard, and players like Andy Robertson of that elite mentality, and I understand Romero has won the World Cup, and that's amazing. That's great. He's also won a European trophy with Spurs. Cool. But him as a captain, him as a leader, given a new contract last season, given the captaincy, from what I saw of him as our club captain over the last 12 months, has been appalling. It has. Him even being spoken about that he would be open to moving to moving to Arsenal. This is not something that happens. This is not a divide that is crossed. There are teams that we would never even consider doing business with. We'd never do business with Chelsea, and we certainly don't do business with Arsenal.
I think it'll be an unreal move.
How so?
Well, if you think about it, if you're so done with him, if Spurs fans are so done with him,
I'm not done with him enough for him to go to Arsenal.
Well, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Well, that's
if you want him out of the club, surely you would think, tell you what, Arsenal have him. Bozo.
No.
He always makes mistakes. He's only going to infect your club. If he's not that good,
it's not necessarily about the Bozo gene. It's not necessarily that. I'd recommend it to you for that.
He'll be all right next to Martin.
Yeah, he would. They'd be okay if they've both got their heads screwed on.
I don't want him. But actually, on that, to put you out of your misery, there has been an update from Fabrizio Romano a lot long ago, about 10 minutes ago. Exactly that. There's a deal close. There's a new bid will be sent soon from Spurs. He says that Romero gave his green light to Atleti. And talks enter the final stages, so he does have some decorum.
No, I don't think. But look,
Spurs never considered to sell the player to Arsenal.
But I knew that. Like anyone who is Spurs would know that there was never a chance in hell that this would ever be sanctioned, because there would just be complete riots over it. Your club captain, we've already had it once with Sol Campbell. It would never, ever, ever happen again. So even if he wanted to go to Arsenal, who knows? He might end up at Arsenal in 5 years' time. I don't know. But he's certainly not going.
He's not going now.
He's perfect for Atleti. He's absolutely perfect.
I think
he'll be great for Simeone. He's got that dog in him, and on his day, he is a world-class defender. But unfortunately, in my opinion, of watching him at Spurs for as long as I have, no, it's not often enough.
Well, let's talk about Liverpool just really quickly, because Liverpool have signed Ronald Araujo from Barcelona on a season-long deal. They've got €55 million buy option clause at the end. We're going to do a lot of Liverpool in the show. We want to hear from Liverpool fans as well. But I think I know it's getting a lot of stick. Barcelona fans are sort of rejoicing that he's left. The Barcelona fans are talking like the Chelsea fans when Garnacho left. I can't believe it. Like, they just really want to see the back of this guy. But he's a very experienced player. And I think that would actually... I think it's a good risk to take, considering where Liverpool are. He's aggressive. He's a leader. You've had Konate leave the club next to Van Dijk, and there were some ups and downs there. I think this could go either one way or the other. Either it's a fantastic signing and it's exactly what Liverpool have been needing, or it could be an absolute horror show. Them playing a high line. You can imagine Van Dijk and him running back towards goals with parachutes on their back, can't move. I hope it's the latter. But I've learned my lesson a little bit with Liverpool. Just a little bit.
So you never learn your lesson.
No, I do. I've learned it this time.
In what sense?
In terms of like, I need to not go early. Like,
just wait.
Yeah, I need to relax.
Patience.
I need to relax. There you go. Right, this is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Up next, our senior football correspondent Ben Jacobs joins us to go through the very latest transfers of the day.
So far this season, you've got Jeremy Jacquet from Rennes.
Yep.
And then you've got Victor Munoz from Osasuna.
Yep.
Obviously, Araujo's on his way, Barcelona captain, high-profile signing.
Yep.
But it just feels to me that maybe because of this transition post-Klopp and the failed project last season under Arne Slot, not the season before, maybe Liverpool are in flux in terms of who they are right now, in terms of identity and their playing identity.
No, I hear what you're saying. And look, it's the media's job to point these things out and come up with some kind of thesis on why Liverpool haven't won a title for 10 months. And I smile while I say that. But here's the reality. They're still the most successful club in England.
Yeah.
They're a world-known club. Everyone knows them. If they want someone and they can come up with the money, they can attract players. Somebody going to Real Madrid over Liverpool, I'm not losing sleep about. A French person going to Paris Saint-Germain because he's basically French and he lives near Paris. Again, that's not a club issue with Liverpool. We will make signings in this window. Areola will instill an identity. It'll be an identity that will be exciting for the fans to watch. I saw a lot of Bournemouth games last year. Any fans who haven't, go watch them.
Yeah.
They're young, they're quick, they're dynamic, they never stop pressing, they never give up. If he instills that at Liverpool, and it'll take a minute, it will be exciting. We might not be up there at the start challenging for a title, and it depends how far Arsenal or Man City get ahead. But don't write Liverpool off like that this season. Yes, we're a few pieces missing. We've got the defensive cover sorted now, apparently. We'd love a central midfielder. We'd love a right winger. We'd like a little bit more strength and depth through the squad. But I still think good things can happen this year. And pre-season games have no reflection on how our season's going to go.
Yep.
Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT. Me, Flex, and Abbi Summers. We're going to be with you up until 10 p.m. We've got to keep going on with the transfers because that is what it is all about. And to do so, let's welcome in Ben Jacobs, talkSPORT senior football correspondent. He's a very, very busy man. He's always a busy man, especially at this time of year. Ben, what is the latest on Christian Romero?
Yeah, too busy to shave. People are starting to say that. I look a little bit
I didn't
like
say
Leo
that.
Messi.
I didn't say that.
Tomorrow, cleanly shaven, once a week maybe, I'll find the time. But yeah, look, with Christian Romero, the latest is Atletico Madrid are pushing to try and close this deal. No real surprise because they had a long-standing interest dating back to last summer. And now they've been able to come in and have advanced conversations with Tottenham that are expected to result in the coming hours or days with a fresh bid. The player has already agreed to the move. And as it stands, Barcelona are not moving now, even though Ronald Araujo has been confirmed as a new Liverpool player on a loan with an option to buy. Napoli were there as well. And they actually agreed a deal already with Tottenham for 40 million euros, so about 35 million pounds, but not terms with the player. And that's because, as he said in a public interview a year ago, he'd like to go to La Liga. And this is really interesting because the fee tells you, if we take the Napoli number, that it's kind of one market, Premier League to Premier League. Max Lacroix, 52 million. Jan-Paul Van Hecke, 1 year left on his contract, 52 million. Christian Romero's got 3 years left on his Spurs contract, and yet the fee is less. Why? Because you're dealing with a market outside of the Premier League. Player wants the move, and ultimately the exit suits all parties. So Atleti are hoping to close this one in the coming hours to avoid any potential surprises, but they are the clear front runners, and the deal is close.
Things we love to hear. That he's not going to Arsenal. My club captain is not moving to Arsenal. Ben, let's talk about Rodri as well, because it looks like he's kind of closing in on that move to Barcelona as well.
Yeah, I think this one will happen. Barcelona's perspective is they're finalising the deal, although Manchester City need another formal bid. But it's one of those where everyone's working verbally towards a number. Manchester City would ideally like 75 million euros. Barcelona are prepared with add-ons to go to in and around 65 million euros, slightly above it, according to my information. And as a consequence, there's no longer this big gulf in valuation. And City are aware that Rodri wants this move. So Barcelona's intent is to try and close it in the coming hours or the coming days, and that will allow Manchester City to attack the midfield market. Ayoub Bouadi advanced talks, players agreed to the move, and now a very difficult negotiation with Lille. Because if City want the player now, Lille started with an insistence that's 100 million euros. He was incredible at the World Cup, but for a player of his age, despite the potential, that's a high price. But City are confident of getting that one done. And they might, if Rodri goes to Barcelona, add a second midfielder as well.
On that second midfielder, Ben, there has been a few rumours around Enzo Fernandez. Of course, Enzo Maresca knows him very well from his time at Chelsea. But Real Madrid very publicly told the world that they won't be signing Enzo Fernandez in spectacular Real Madrid fashion with a club statement. But have you got anything on that about Enzo Fernandez potentially being of interest to Manchester City, especially now there's going to be a big hole there left by Rodri?
Yeah, when I ran the exclusive a few weeks ago now, Chelsea's asking price was £120 million. Now, maybe that's higher if you consider the fact that other deals like Elliot Anderson, £116 million, and Chelsea may argue that Enzo Fernandez should be more. He's a World Cup winner after all, and he was the vice-captain and captain at times of Chelsea. So Chelsea are calm about the situation, and they have every intent, if the window shuts, to try and get Enzo Fernandez on one extreme to sign a new deal. And yet, if their valuation is met, an exit is possible. We know that Enzo Fernandez has flirted with a move to Real Madrid. But as you say, if we take the public statement at face value, even with Rodri heading to Barcelona, the expectation is that Real won't move. You can never say never with Real, but they were put off by that asking price, according to my information. So yes, City, specifically Enzo Maresca, do appreciate Enzo Fernandez. Are they going to find that budget? I think questionable. If Bouadi is nearly £100 million, Elliot Anderson 116, and then Enzo Fernandez at least 120, that's a huge outlay in the centre of the park. There might be some more economical options. I know internally Alexis McAllister has been mentioned, but there's been no contact yet or developments with Liverpool, so that's just more part of a shortlisting process than anything to get excited about. Some people have mentioned Adam Wharton to me as well, so possibly in a perfect world, if Enzo Maresca had his say, he might choose to move for Enzo Fernandez. We can't entirely discount it, but the price is a massive stumbling block, and at the moment City's focus is on trying to get Bouadi over the line.
It's honestly some mad money. This window in particular has just gone so crazy. But Ben, from one extreme to the other, Brennan Johnson and Dwight McNeil in a swap deal. Who's actually benefiting more, do you reckon, from this type of a swap?
Yeah, old school swap deal. I don't think I've done a swap deal, not Premier
Bit
League.
boring
to
for you,
Premier
isn't it,
League for quite some time.
Something
Nothing
different.
to talk about. No fees, no crazy money. You don't want to see
and I
swaps,
think
do you?
if you look at the Brennan Johnson deal at the time, don't forget, and it wasn't that long ago, he was a club record at Crystal Palace, and then Jorgen Strand Larsen came in and eclipsed the number. So on the books, not ideal, although when you think about the desire of the player to move and it hasn't really worked at Crystal Palace, and then when you flip it the other way around, Dwight McNeil was really close within minutes to joining anyway, leaving Everton for Crystal Palace in the January window, and there was a paperwork issue and the player was kind of dismayed by how that was kind of handled. So it feels like in some ways this is Palace making it right and getting a target they always wanted, and then sending Brennan Johnson the other way in a deal that suits all parties. If you just compare the market valuation, then Everton have traded a player, of course, that on paper is worth less and got someone that is worth more. And in that respect, they'll feel it's an excellent deal for them. But like I say, there was always an intent for Crystal Palace to have Dwight McNeil, and now they've got their man.
Incredible. NBA style swap, like you said, we haven't seen that in so long. It just doesn't
Also
seem
for
to
a
happen.
player that's only been there, what, 5-6 months?
I know, it's incredible. Let's talk about Paulinho, Ben, because he was at Abby's club and he helped him stay up, and you know they're very ungrateful.
No,
Spurs.
no.
I'm just saying.
No.
I'm just saying. Very ungrateful. They got a bit of money now, so they moved on to other things. And poor old Paulinho couldn't come back.
He wanted to stay.
Well, there you go.
I would have liked him to stay. I would have had him.
Got to tell the Spurs hierarchy. But Ben, what is the latest on João Paulinho? Because of course his loan ended, and he had to go back to Bayern Munich. But it looks like Aston Villa are after his services.
Yeah, I think the Villa move stands a really strong chance of happening now because the player's indicated he's open to it. Some of it's around the structure. It may be that Aston Villa prefer to look at a loan formula with some form of buy option or even a conditional clause. Bayern would rather have a permanence to the exit, but they've not entirely shut the door on different kinds of formulas. And as you say, the backstory here is a very strange one in some respects, because João Paulinho got off to a lightning fast start and then was really important under Roberto De Zerbi and in Tottenham staying up. And the player wanted to stay. And that was from day one, by the way. So the buy option was at the insistence of Paulinho when he first joined Tottenham, because he wanted to return to the Premier League. It was the right football and family decision for him. And then Roberto De Zerbi spoke very positively about him. But of course, flash forwards, and when you add Mateus Fernandes and Sandro Tonali, Paulinho was always likely to be a casualty. And that was the case. And now Aston Villa are advancing in talks. At the moment, Newcastle United are behind in the race, and yet they were this morning focused on a former Spurs player in Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and they had some confidence that they could strike a deal. And the player thought about it, club to club, not an issue, and decided to say no. So that deal is now off, and we have to understand whether Newcastle are going to be more aggressive on Paulinho. But Villa are the front runners, Villa are the favourites, and the player has already said to those within Villa's hierarchy that he's open to the move. So this one could develop quite quickly.
Absolutely, that'd be an exciting move for Aston Villa if they can get that over the line. Right, Ben, you can get off and get that shave now.
I don't know about tonight. Not going to shave and then have the little stubble growing back on the pillow and risk waking up with a rash. I'm a morning shaver, but tomorrow, I promise you, I'll have trimmed it.
Morning shaver, that's what I like to do. I didn't think I'd do that tonight. Nice one, Ben. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
talkSPORT senior football correspondent there, Ben Jacobs, with the very latest in the transfer window. Right, this is the Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT. We'll continue on our Spurs chat next, and I'll ask Abby where they need to strengthen and the predictions on where Spurs will finish versus where she thinks they will finish.
Steve gets in touch with the United fans. He says, boys, with Rashford, we've been down this road so many times. We've sang his name, give him over 300 grand a week, backed him and watched him stink the gaff out week after week. Body language is such a huge part of football.
It is.
I can't sit in the Stretford end again and watch him sort of mope around and sulk on the pitch. He's worked hard for any club who'd take him on loan over his supposed boyhood club. We've been down this road too many times. Shake hands, get him out the door ASAP. Do you understand that sentiment from some Manchester United fans?
Totally. I totally get it. Yes, he's burnt his bridges there. I get all the reasons for it, and he's done himself no favours whatsoever. Like I said, the player had potential to be top. Really, it's time to buy him a giant mirror. It's like, look in the mirror, son. Barcelona didn't want to buy you for 30-odd million. That's a drop in the ocean for a club like Barcelona. Nobody in the Premier League allegedly wants you either. So I don't see any, I said recently maybe Tottenham should sign him, but they're obviously not getting the bids. So you're already at one of the biggest clubs in the world. Like, at some point, when does the penny drop? Because your next contract's not going to be 350 grand a week. The Saudi money looks like it's going away. I ain't sure Turkey, somewhere he's going to want to live.
Yep.
So where are you going after this? How old is he now? He's still, he's in his prime. So he's really got to figure this out and buckle down. Or he's going to become a 31-year-old nobody, who basically his career is dried up and finished, in a few years' time. So really, maybe they're going to motivate Marcus Rashford. Maybe that will suit Man United. But I agree about the body language. I agree everything that happened before. And he ended up with a massive contract that they can't get out from under. So I don't think the people at United, the powers to be, will fall for that again.
When you think about famous F1 circuits, the likes of Silverstone, Monza, Monaco come to mind. One of these is not like the others though. Monaco is just one of a number of street circuits on the calendar, and that number's only set to rise. There's a clear difference between a traditional circuit and a street circuit. One is a purpose-built facility on private land, the other is, as it sounds, a race through the streets of a major city. Monaco's the famous example, twisting and turning through the streets of the Principality with iconic backgrounds and, let's be honest, not a lot of overtaking. But from 2026, there'll be a record 10 street circuits on the calendar. It proves that cash remains king. Each track promoter gives F1 between $20 and $60 million just for the rights to host an F1 race. And when Saudi Arabia pays upwards of $100 million, you can see why it's an attractive prospect for the sport. But is it all positive? Well, the drivers aren't that bothered. If you ask a majority of them, they'll tell you historic circuits at Silverstone, Spa, Monza, Zandvoort, they're the favourites. For the sports organisers, though, it kind of makes sense. In 2025, Monaco had a record 2.3 million strong viewership in the US alone. Meanwhile, for the British Grand Prix several weeks later, 1.5 million tuned in. So while these races
That's right, this is the Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT. We're going to be with you up until 10 p.m. till we hand over to the guys for the sports bar. I wonder what they're going to be talking about, having some good vibes on the sports bar. Right, listen, we've been speaking about your club Spurs. Yeah, you're not getting away from this. We've been talking about your club Spurs earlier. Let's do a bit more now. And with the news that Ben brought us earlier, that Paulinho will be joining Villa from Bayern. My question to you is why are you so ungrateful? Why have you not tried to keep this player?
I am not ungrateful. I would have happily kept Paulinho. He was not the issue. And also, it was actually very kind of him that he still wanted to stay.
Yeah, after being treated so harshly.
I didn't expect him to want to stay. I think that's a really good signing for Villa. I think anyone that would go and get João Paulinho at this point, it's a really good signing. 31, very experienced, very physical, good in terms of can actually pop up with goals. Saved us so many times. Goals against Wolves at home, took the shirt off, flung it around. Yeah, I'm a big fan of him. We were just talking as well, another player in terms of Højbjerg, who's turned down to move to Newcastle. I have to be honest, but if Newcastle, guys, like if you can't even get Højbjerg to come to you and he's saying no, it is a tough
Where's Ollie
time.
Klink? Get Ollie Klink
Yeah,
on
get
this
him to
line
call
right
in,
now.
please.
I'm serious. If we can get him in at late notice, he's got some talking to do.
Yeah.
He's got some talking.
If I was
to do.
Newcastle, I'd be trying to hijack that Polina deal.
Yeah,
Because if you were looking at Højbjerg, please look at Polina.
And they are going. They're sort of
Same
changing
age.
their strategy and going young as well. So they need some more experience in there as well. No, I think Paulinho was decent at Spurs last year. I think he's got to be coupled or paired with the right type of midfielder.
Yeah,
because he's limited in some areas, but he excels in.
He needs legs with him. I think that under Thomas Frank we saw, unfortunately, Polina and Bentancur, and that just had absolutely no legs whatsoever. Yeah. But if you can give him someone that can move the ball, his job is to protect that back line. Yeah, like he's not going to be the the sexiest on the ball, but that's not his job. He's there is to do the dirty work and clean up, and
he enjoys it.
Yeah, I would have happily kept him. In all honesty, I actually thought Bentancur would be
listen to you.
The one to leave.
You're talking like you'd rather have him than Mateus Fernandes. Would you rather have him than Fernandes?
No.
Would you rather have him than Tonali?
No.
Oh,
no, I'm very happy with my new bougie midfield. Thank you very much.
I like that.
We've come a long way.
Midfield. That's exactly what
we've come a long way from Oliver Skip.
Yeah, well, we'll wait till we. Yeah. That's another one. Let's not go there. No. Let's talk about some of the players that you linked with and what you need. So you've been linked with Savinho and Gakpo because I'm assuming that there's work in wide areas to be done. Is that correct?
Big work. I think the most important, is actually on the left. Like, we have never had a contingency plan for Son leaving, which is crazy because it's not like it just happened.
In the pipeline, right?
Yeah, it's not like it happened out of the blue. There was a good 18-month period where you could see the decline of him and Son, and they never bothered to plan for it, which again goes back to the mismanagement. But I think the left is such a massive key area that we have to improve on. This incessant loving over Savinho that Tottenham clearly have.
Not seeing it?
I don't see it. I don't get it. I want to be
a new environment, fresh start.
I want to be proved wrong. I'll happily be proved wrong by any signing I'm a bit like on the fence about. But I've asked City fans. I've said to them, like, guys, what is it? Like, what am I missing? What are Spurs fans missing?
What will I be getting for my money?
Tell me what I'm getting. And they're
what
like,
they say?
Not much.
Nothing.
They're like, honestly, I don't really know why you guys are so hell-bent on it. And I'm like, well, great, that sounds good. But I don't know. I mean, look, you can probably look at every single stat and every single, when they do the field tilt and all things like that. And maybe he comes out pretty high in the metrics. But I just don't.
It's not one that fills you with.
No, it doesn't fill me with excitement. It doesn't fill me with excitement. Look, he's very pacey. He likes to dribble. He can put crosses into the box, but I just think it's the lack of consistency for me. Yeah, 2 goals, 2 assists in the Prem last season. I would say that, yes, he hasn't had the most game time. Like, that's fair.
Injured as well.
Injured. Okay, well, we love it. We love injuries.
Fitting at Spurs.
Yeah, very fitting. I'll fit right in. But I just, maybe it's the one-on-one positions or taking on defenders, but I just wouldn't, he would not be my choice, especially when you're looking at the fees. Last summer, I think it was like 70 odd million that we were.
It's big money.
It's big money. And we need someone that's going to come in. Yes, he's got Prem proven talent, but I haven't seen enough of him at City. And I think if you're asking City fans to be like, well, would you want to keep him? They're like, no, I don't get why.
His body of work is probably not strong enough.
Small.
He does need a fresh surroundings. It's like he's wanted to. He even signed a new deal, if I'm not mistaken.
And Gakpo, I can understand the Gakpo one maybe a little bit more.
Yeah,
I can, because he can also play down the middle. He adds a goal threat.
Would you have him on the left? So if I said to you now, give me 70 million, you can have Gakpo.
It's just a lot of money.
65.
Lower.
62 and a half. Add-ons.
Lower. I'd say 60.
Yeah.
60 for Gakpo, I think is fair and acceptable because again, Prem proven.
And the market that it is.
And the market that it is. Does pop up with goals and assists. Can play on the left. Obviously can play down the middle as well. He hasn't got the same pace, maybe he definitely doesn't have the same pace as Savinho does. But just neither of them necessarily set my world on fire. Like, I'll be honest, I would have rather had Marcus Rashford. Obviously the wages, that's never going to happen.
Well, and he just wouldn't come to you.
Why? That's disrespectful.
It's just the truth.
Why?
Marcus Rashford's not going to go to Spurs. Is
he? Why? Tell me more.
Well, he just went to Barcelona in the league.
Before that?
He'd rather come back play at Man United than go to Spurs.
Is he going to play for Man United?
Is he going
to play for Manchester United?
Yeah.
He's going to start?
He might not start, but he'd rather hedge his bets and just work himself into the team than go to Spurs.
Is it that, or he'd just rather pick up the, 350?
No, Marcus Rashford's not going to go to Spurs.
I just think this is completely disrespectful. Why not?
You think you can get Marcus Rashford?
I don't see why not.
You think Marcus Rashford would sign for Spurs?
I think if he would like regular game time and, a chance to play Prem football and a chance to reinvent himself, I don't think Spurs is crazy.
He wants all of those things.
Okay, so is he going to do that at Manchester United?
Well,
Because the way your fan base are talking.
Oh no! Oh, it's split. We're gonna cover Manchester United.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk, obviously, of course, a lot about Marcus Rashford. I just got a clear.
I don't think this is absolutely crazy to say that he wouldn't go to Spurs.
I think it is, Alex. I'm not gonna lie.
But can you give me an actual valid reason other than just saying it's Spurs?
That's my main reason. I'm not
Because
gonna
it's
lie.
Spurs.
Yeah, and I think it's good enough. I think that's a good. I think that's a. No, I'm being serious. Like,
good enough.
I feel like that is a strong enough reason for like that Marcus Rashford wouldn't go there. I'm not being disrespectful.
Just because it's Spurs.
Yeah, I think he'll look. I think he'll say to the agent, what's the latest offers today? I think he'll come home from training and he'll say to his brother, who looks after him, what's the latest? Like, who's been on the phone? And he'll say, I got a call from Spurs earlier. I said, what's it about? He says,
What's it about?
He's like, I got a call from Spurs. I said, what's it about? He said, it's about maybe you going there. He said, did you put the phone down?
Did you put the phone down?
There's no point. Well, I'm not going to go to Spurs, am I? If I'm Marcus Rashford, I'm not going to Spurs.
But
I was going to go back to Manchester United and have to deal with whether or not I'm going to fit. I'd rather deal with that.
We're talking about the fact that he also did go on loan to Villa. He was also at Villa.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Spurs is what?
He did well in Champions League. Playing against PSG.
All right, we don't have Champions League football this season.
Playing the Carabao Cup round 2. He doesn't want to do that.
Or what's it on the bench at United?
He'll get games.
How many games?
This is the Spurs section.
How many games?
This is the Spurs
How many
section.
games?
We'll talk about Manchester United later.
How many games?
Don't know. We'll have to see. We'll just have to see.
Try and re-energise your career.
He'd rather play 28 games for Man United next season than 35
You think he's going to
for
get 28
Spurs.
games?
Yeah.
Okay. Should we make a bet on that?
He'd get more than that.
Let's make a bet.
Appearances. I don't know how many starts.
No, let's do that. How many starts is he going to have Manchester
How many
United?
starts?
I'll make a bet with you now.
Marcus Rashford will get a minimum of 17 starts. There you go.
Done.
There you go. But I'll tell you one thing, that's 100%. He ain't going to Spurs.
No, he's not going to
So,
Spurs.
right,
but I
there
would
you
have
go.
liked him.
Oh, you can like what you want. You would have liked Vinny Jr.
I know another club that would have had Vinny Jr. as well.
Okay, so what's the aim now? So all of this chest, all of this money spent. This is where we get to the meat on the bone, because Spurs fans have been through a horrible run, and all jokes aside, it is probably difficult to gauge what you class as a successful season. De Zerbi's first full season in charge, loads of change, a clear change in strategy, a clear statement of intent being shown to make the past stay in the past and show that you want to kick on. Of course, injuries have been a big problem. That needs to not be a problem anymore. With the money that's been spent and the players that you've just been waxing lyrical about, so happy to have, this is brilliant. What are you saying for the next season? Where do you think Spurs should finish versus where you think they will?
Well, the pragmatism in me will just say top half. Where I would.
So what's that, like 9th?
It's an improvement.
Right. Okay.
It's a big improvement, let's be honest. When you finish back-to-back 17th, 2 seasons in a row, I can't turn my nose up at saying, I'd be happy to finish 9th or 10th. Like, I'd be happy to finish 11th. That would still be an improvement.
Oh, happy to finish 11th.
Yeah, but it's true. Like, I know.
11th?
Yeah, but you
wouldn't be happy to finish 11th.
I would, because of where we've been. We nearly got relegated.
Spending all you wouldn't if you would get to the end of the next season.
Money is money.
End of May, and
Money
you
is
say
money.
we've signed Tonali, we've signed this, we've signed. I can imagine you now saying, and we've finished 11th.
I can say we should be doing better than that, but I can also say it's again, it's another transitional season.
11th is crazy.
It is.
You won't be happy.
It's not crazy. It's not crazy when you finish 17th and nearly got relegated.
Okay, all right.
But
So you're happy with 11th? Go on.
what I would like, I'm very happy to finish within the European spots. That doesn't mean top 4.
Yeah.
That means Europa League.
Yeah. Conference.
I've said many a times, or conference.
Yeah.
And I had usually in the past turned my nose up at conference, but Spurs were a lot more competitive then.
Yeah.
We are restarting. Like, we was at ground zero, in my opinion, like from the end of last season, that's where we were. We are on a rebuild, a new structure of the club, a new way that we move. So for me, if you finish 6th, 7th, 8th, whatever, that is an improvement on where we've been. Yes,
that'd be a massive improvement.
Massive improvement.
That would be,
My thing is about getting back to basics. I just want to enjoy watching my team. I want to fall back in love with my team because I have hated them. I have absolutely hated watching them. It's been terrible. It's made me lose my mind so many times, lose my head every week, get to a point where it's kept me up at night. We've had tears, we've had everything. So I just want to get back to a point where Tottenham are competitive. Tottenham can win a game of football, because don't forget, we didn't win a game for like four months. So if we can finish in the Europa League spots, that's a competition that we've won before. It's a competition we can compete in. I'd be happy with that.
Okay, so Europa League or 11th is what I got from that. So, and I'm sticking with 11th. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT with myself, Flex, and broadcaster Abbi Summers, who wants her team to finish 11th. Liverpool is on the agenda next as a consortium, including Amazon's Jeff Bezos, is in talks to buy 30% of the club off the back of Andoni Iraola, also questioning his squad's fitness in pre-season.
I know Salah didn't play as much last season, but to not have Mo Salah, your talisman, like, who's going to take that now? Isak should, but he's right to call it there, Egan. His injury record is horrendous. If he gets injured again, touch what he doesn't, who's the striker? Gakpo, false 9?
Apparently they're in for Bacola. I like him. I think he's top player.
Do you think he's a £130 million player?
Well, if Elliot Anderson's 10, how much they paid for it?
110.
Morgan Rogers, your mate, has gone to
117.
117 million.
I know.
Like Bacola,
crazy, isn't it?
of course, PSG are going to say, well, he's 130 million. He won the Champions League, played in the World Cup.
But if you're Liverpool, is that exactly what you need off that left-hand side?
Probably not. They need a replacement for Salah.
They need goals.
Yeah, they need goals.
Do you know what I mean? Barcola I agree. I love watching him. I feel like if I was a right back, I wouldn't sleep the night before playing against him. He's rapid. He's 6'2", wherever he is, long stride, quick, but he's not a finisher. The amount of times I've watched him and he's gone through one goal and he'll make the wrong pass and finishes are a bit wild and doesn't finish chances he should do. Liverpool need to be bringing in a winger who's going to get goals, because you can't rely on Isak. You can't. You should be able to. Wirtz isn't a goal scorer. You spent over 100 million for Wirtz, and he's not a goal scorer, mate.
Feels like it's a bit of a mess.
McAllister wasn't good last season. How's he going to come back after the World Cup? Szoboszlai's obviously a fantastic player. Gravenberch needed some help last season in that number 6 as well.
I just can't believe that Liverpool, we're saying, Champions League. Yeah, we'd take Champions League.
I agree. Their fans won't like it.
This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT with me, Flex, and broadcaster and huge Spurs fan.
Sorry?
That's Spurs fan.
Do that
Huge
again.
Spurs fan. Abbi Summers, we're going to be with you up until 10 p.m. where Jason Cundy returns to the sports bar alongside Rory Jennings. That's going to be very eventful. Don't you worry about that. Let's move on to Liverpool now and start with the news of a takeover bid from a consortium that includes Jeff Bezos. Now, earlier today, Peterborough United chairman Dara McAntony was alongside Max Scott, and he gave his thoughts on the takeover.
Look, you got two very wealthy people buying in. Anytime your club is owned by people with those kind of deep pockets, you know that you're never going to struggle to pay your bills, right? Now, I don't know what they're hoping to achieve. I don't know if it's fun. Look, for a guy like him, spending $1 billion, $2 billion on acquiring a stake in Liverpool would be like me and you going and having a pint and spending 50 quid tonight. So who knows what they want. The one thing I'd question is if Amazon ever want to rival Sky for the TV rights deal for the Premier League, that could become an issue. You know, where that might not be allowed because their main shareholder owns Liverpool.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. And I wonder if that changes because they're a minority owner or if he's...
No, I don't know. Yeah, and I'm wondering in the deal, because again, you'd say, what's in it for minority owner? Do they have a pathway to owning the whole of Liverpool? You know, so that'd be really interesting. But look, anytime you get mega wealthy people who end up owning your club, as long as their heart's in the right place and they want the right things, they want success, it's a good thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Darren McAntony there, Peterborough United chairman, giving his thoughts on potentially what could be huge news for Liverpool, you know, to be selling potentially a 30% stake in the club with somebody like Jeff Bezos.
I'd love
Darren
to
said,
know what
that's
Liverpool
big
fans
money.
think of that. Because I feel like Liverpool fans, they're quite opinionated, I think, when it comes to
very
how
protective over the club as well, and what the club should stand for and what it looks like. I think Darren, of course, with his experience as well, makes some really good points about you have to see what their intentions are first. Like, is it just a bit?
Are they
going
to invest their own?
Do they have a pathway to own more of it? And actually, it's similar to what's happened at Ineos with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, right? He's bought just over like a 24% stake in United for just over £1 billion, if I remember correctly, and he's been handed sporting control for purchasing a minority ownership. So the Glazers are, you know, saying we just want hands off. We just want to keep milking the club, keep doing what we've always done, which is take advantage of the club and hand over all of the sporting stuff to you. You take the rap, you do that, and you're going to give us a huge fee for a minority stake. What would this look like if this was to happen? How much does this consortium want to be involved? How much do they want to end up acquiring? How much input do they want on day-to-day runnings if you're a minority holder? How much power will be given up from the minority in FSGE? So there's a lot to answer.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. But I mean, look, if they're going to get the type of injection of cash,
Amazon money.
Well, actually, you're going to boycott, no?
Listen. I think Prime's overrated. Yeah, honestly, you don't look. We're spoiled. You don't always need things immediately. I'll just get my things from Vinted, pre-loved,
eBay,
Depop, good site, TK Maxx, things like that. Because I'm not going to be funding them.
So you're
Amazon Prime gone.
It's gone.
If this goes through, Amazon Prime suspended on mine.
So when was the last time you bought something from Amazon?
Literally yesterday. Got delivered today. This is before I knew the news. Even the fact that the news is there, I'm going to go elsewhere.
Really?
Yeah, until I know that this is not a thing. No, I need it.
What about like when?
I need the stuff bought.
What about over Christmas when there's football on Prime? Then what?
There's other ways. Just listen on here.
Just listen to the comms.
I listen to Game Day Live. That's what I'll be doing. I'll be tuning to talkSPORT, listening to Game Day Live. I'll be listening to Resh and Stuart and Sam Matface. That's what I'll be doing.
I think if you're going to get that type of money come in, then like that's great from a Liverpool standpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about we actually need to talk about their transfers. They've got so much that they need to do. 140 odd million on Barcola.
Yeah, I mean, look,
they could do with that injection now.
Do you know what? Remember I said about I've learned not to go too early on Liverpool, right?
Yeah.
But they spent so much money last season, and of course it was a terrible season in terms of being as champions the year before. Still managed to get Champions League, so it wasn't a total disaster, but sacked the manager. Isak didn't work with a mixture of bad form and then obviously a really bad injury. Ekitike, really bad injury over halfway through the season. Wirtz didn't really quite get going. The two fullbacks never really quite got going, etc., etc. Spent a lot of money. And I looked at their team, like sort of towards the back end of the season. I was like, I feel like they need another rebuild. I'm looking around going, well, Salah's left. There's a massive gaping hole on the right-hand side. Gakpo, although not everything was his fault, like a little bit of a scapegoat at times. He is talented, but I still think at the level required coming from what Luis Diaz's output was, it's a monumental downgrade. They've got the young Rio Ingamoa, who does look a fantastic one for the future and can play his role now as a young teenager, by the way. I'm looking in central midfield. I think they need a 6. Up until, of course, today where they got Ronald Araujo, which was clearly a place they needed to strengthen. They needed a centre-half. I'm looking at right-back. I'm not too sure on Frimpong. And okay, Araujo can play there. Cut a long story short, I just feel like Liverpool still need to get their skates on. So Barcola would be a fantastic signing. Huge money, not too sure on that. But I don't think he solves the problem of Mo Salah not being there.
No,
he's predominantly placed on the left, can play on the right, but you're not going to get the best out of him there. I'm just not sure that they need to get their skates on.
I think that the fact that there hasn't really been loads of other links to Liverpool has been the biggest worry. Like there is that gaping hole, like you say, on the right. Who are they linked with? There isn't really much conversation over it. Plus, I think also what is a big area is getting another 6, getting someone else for Gravenberch. I think that in particular, last season, if you go back the season they won the league, the difference in that kind of engine room in midfield.
Yeah,
and yeah,
massive drop off.
Massive drop off. Like, look, I'm not surprised that they need more. I know that last season, the amount of money that they spent and the players you brought in, you say, oh no, you got on paper, obviously everyone said they won the window, but it does paper over a few cracks. Obviously, Canate's not there anymore either.
Robertson's left.
Robertson's gone. No Salah anymore.
Exactly.
Like they are
3 senior players.
And they've got a new manager again. They are in a transition. And you think that first season that Slot came in and they won the league, it was Jurgen Klopp's team. It was. They just made a few tweaks and they won the league that season. That was that. But they still have got a lot of things that they have to fix because they didn't actually. They did that window where they didn't bring anyone in other than Chiesa.
Yeah, exactly. Have they got too much quality for this to go really wrong if they don't get their skates on in terms of what they have already? I.e., I'm talking like Liverpool going to get a Champions League, right?
Well, I don't know.
Sure.
I actually don't know because you look at how competitive I think that this season is going to be. There are so many different managers, so many moving parts, so much going on. Plus, I think there will be a bit of hangover and fatigue from the World Cup with players coming back, maybe some later than others. But I just look at Liverpool and I think I'm not entirely sure that you're going to be there or thereabouts. You need to improve on last season, and last season wasn't a good season. And I don't feel like
done enough.
They haven't.
But
yet.
with Isak returning back to fitness, with Wirtz another season
Obviously,
under his belt,
Ekitike's out for a long period.
Ekitike's out for a long period as well. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
And a new manager in Iriola as well. This is a monumental step up for him. He's been a fantastic manager at Bournemouth, brilliant. And I think the type of football that he wants to play will be very eye-catching for Liverpool fans, be very endearing. That is he's going to probably play a brand of football that Liverpool fans are synonymous with. When you're playing under the lights at Anfield, you're playing big games. Liverpool fans demand, intensity, commitment, being on the front foot. I think he'll bring those things in time. Of course, look, it's pre-season. He has sort of had a little dig or an observation that, they can only sort of do what he's asking him to do for 30 minutes and then they get tired. So it's a question of fitness and, so that takes time.
And also
we can't
legs. And if we're already talking
exactly
about
players who can play
of,
at that intensity.
Yeah. If we're talking about players in the engine room, in that midfield, in the heart of it, that have, you need runners, you need legs. And if you don't have that, then where's the energy going to come from?
Yeah.
Florian Wirtz needs to have a much better season than he did last year, that's for sure. You can probably forgive him for having that first season maybe not being fully at it, coming into a new league. Ekitike obviously going to be out for a long period of time as well. Frimpong, Kirke's do they fit in Iriola style? They're not, like Frimpong in particular, he's not great defensively. I've heard there's links to, they now want Jed Spence, same as you would like Jed Spence now. And maybe that does fit a little bit better. Yeah. But there's a lot of things that need to be done. Of course, fixing the centre-back issue as well. I think that Arujo will be okay. He's also playing next to Van Dijk. He didn't have a very good season as well. Definitely didn't cover himself in glory. But other than that, it's just Victor Munoz. That's it.
Yeah, there's definitely...
I'd be worried if I was a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, and do you know what? The Liverpool fans that I've spoke to, listen, it's not a complete write-off on what on earth are we going to do. We're terrible. It's not panic stations, but I think the word worried / concerned, maybe a little bit anxious, because I think in the closing weeks, they probably need to get some through the door. I think Ronald Araujo goes a good way. I think it's a smart, calculated risk to take because it's not a guaranteed dead cert, but I think there's probably just about more pros than cons with signing somebody like him on this market.
They've got that Jeremy Jacka as well.
Yeah, they've got him. He's coming back to first team action soon, obviously after an injury. Leone has, of course, done his knee last year, which was really bad. I think he did that at Southampton. That was a tough one to take, but he's young. But what we shouldn't look, they do have quality. Of course, that Szoboszlai's locked down to another contract. Wirtz, for as much as I have a laugh and troll, like he's a top player. He's obviously just got to click into gear to really take it to the next level. But he has the ability to if the conditions are right. I think Rio Ngamoa is really exciting. Isak, you'd like to think now the worst is behind him. Had a decent World Cup where he could get going again. It's massive pressure on his shoulders, but I just feel like they still need more. I think I think Liverpool should go and get Adam Wharton.
I don't think that's a bad shout.
I think he'd be perfect.
They need a ball-winning 6.
Yeah,
that is exactly what they need.
And he can dictate from deep as well. Get them playing on a half turn. Get them up the pitch. I think Adam Wharton would be a great signing. But Bradley Barcola, for sure, bring him in. I think they need that. They need that sort of
They need that
sort
star.
of big, yeah,
to replace
and
Salah.
listen, they just bought a lot of stars, but
Yes.
and he's not even a direct replacement. Like I said, he plays from the left. But if we're talking Bradley Barcola, is he worth the money?
Rio can play from the right.
He can play
though,
from the right. Yeah, exactly. Is he worth the money? Maybe not, but in terms of that price, but he's still a fantastic player with a very, very high ceiling. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to know what Liverpool fans have to say on this. Right, this is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Next up, we'll talk about my club. Yes, Manchester United.
Barcelona are now leading the race to sign Rodri from Manchester City, notwithstanding the loss that would be to City in a new era under Enzo Maresca. What's the latest on that? And is it the case that Real Madrid have dropped the ball here? Because it seemed to be, reading reports, that Real Madrid were in the driving seat with this one.
Yeah, Rodri wanted Real Madrid earlier in the window, and Florentino Perez hadn't decided what kind of midfielder he was going for, which is why several names were linked, including Enzo Fernandez, and Real had to issue a statement saying we've had no contact with Enzo Fernandez. Jose Mourinho came in. Finally, they got the mandate from Perez to start negotiating financially, but Barca have basically hijacked this, although some sources say Barca were there even before the window opened, and it was Real that kind of steamrolled in. And ultimately, Rodri, for family reasons, wants to go to Spain, but we've got a fascinating scenario now. Man City want to keep. Pep Guardiola never used to stand in players' ways, especially senior ones that had been long-serving and loyal to the club. But Enzo Maresca's new, and of course, if it's his say, he'll go to his board and say, keep him. If he doesn't renew, we'll let him leave on a free transfer in 2027. And now Barca are going to accelerate and bid, and they have full player buy-in. So Rodri wants Barcelona over Real Madrid, and I think there's a strong chance that this one happens. Man City are going to add another midfielder. Ayoub Boadi advanced talks. They've got other targets as well. Elliot Anderson has already come in. And in essence, it's whether City say Rodri deserves this move and follow that Pep Guardiola approach, or if they double down and say Enzo Maresca doesn't want him to leave, so we're going to make it really difficult.
Corinthian Casuals are a team in the Combined Counties League Premier Division South. Despite that, they're one of the most important clubs in world football. Here's why. The club was formed in 1939 as the result of a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, a man called Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021 one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3, you'll most likely bump into Brazilian Corinthians fans who often make the pilgrimage across the globe just to watch their founding team play.
Evening, this is the Transfer Insiders, people, here with me, Flex and Abbi Summers, up until 10 p.m. before we head over to the sports bar with Jason Cundy and Rory Jennings. Jason Cundy's back. Is he back off his holidays? Yeah, first show back. He's going to be full of beans, ready for the new season, recharged, ready to go. I can't wait to see his. Has anyone seen that? Who's going to be the first victim?
It should actually be, has anyone seen Jason Cundy? Because he's been off for so long.
Where has he been?
Where has he been?
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if he's going to have a lot of joy with that next season, because Chelsea are in for a big one as well.
Yeah.
They spent a lot of money, a lot of expectation. But that's the sports bar up at 10 p.m. But here on the Transfer Insiders, there's lots more to come on the show. But now it's time to talk Manchester United. Yeah, my team. We've spoken about Spurs. We've spoken about Liverpool.
Let's do you. Let's talk about United.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
How's your pre-season been?
Good. Yeah, good pre-season. We lost to Wrexham first off, 1-0.
That's what I wanted you to say. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to give... Oh, here we go.
Oh.
Just walked in.
You're slagging me off.
I wasn't slagging you off.
Jay.
Honestly, you.
This is a new man. Who's this?
I was listening to you in the car on the way.
Enjoying the show?
Go on.
I was enjoying the show.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I just didn't come in the office and you're not slagging me off.
Honestly.
It would never be us.
No, you look incredible.
It would never be.
I'm being dead set. You look
It's nuts, isn't it?
You do.
Wow.
Can I touch it?
Is it? Yeah, of course you can.
Okay.
It's got full body, full volume.
There's a lot.
It's soft, you know.
There's a lot. I
A
know.
little lift.
You could go.
Yeah.
Give him the number.
I'll get you Cundy rates, mates rates,
Give it, yeah.
Cundy
make
discount.
rates discount.
Yeah.
That is, mate, you're looking well.
It's all right.
Are you looking
How
forward
are
to
you
the season?
guys? How are you? I was listening to you talking about. Honestly, you Spurs fans, crap.
Ridiculous. You think you can get Rashford, mate?
Do you know what? I don't know why they don't go for him.
Because he won't go there.
Thank you.
I don't know why they
Thank
don't
you,
go
Jay.
for him. I don't know about Chelsea.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
he might go to you. Nah, not
he's
anymore.
not coming.
Not anymore. Not anymore. You got enough now.
Yeah,
Spent big money.
Honestly, we in the wide areas, mate. I don't know a football club ever like it. We signed the same player. Keep signing the same player. Mind you, Kenda looks all right. We got it. So we're doing all
Nicholas
right.
Jackson's showing off some of his
Well,
stuff.
we'll see. There's a bit to trim.
Are you gonna win the league?
I think we're in the hunt. I'm going to say it now. We're in the hunt.
You're in the hunt. Title race is on.
I just don't listen. I've seen it before. We are the football club. We're a nuts club. Yeah. We win things when we shouldn't win things.
True.
Right? And we are in this zone. Remember when Conte took over after the disaster from Jose, and all of a sudden we go away to Arsenal. We're getting beat 2 or 3-0. We goes to 3 at the back. Yeah, bang. Gone. And I don't. I'm optimistic. Isn't that what it is about being a footballer? Shouldn't I feel like this?
Yeah, you should.
Don't you?
Well,
you of all, right?
If I said that,
right,
you'd laugh.
Okay, let me ask you this.
You'd laugh.
Let me ask you this.
Go on.
Of all the top 6 clubs, who can win the Premier League? Go on, and let's throw Spurs in there. Keep Abby happy, right? Let's throw them. Go on, who can win it? Go on. Let's name the big heads. Not.
All right. Well, Man City can win it.
Right. Okay.
Man City can win it.
Yeah. New manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on.
Still Man City.
Liverpool.
New manager.
New manager.
Yeah.
Go on. Keep going.
Go on. Chelsea.
Yeah.
New manager.
New manager.
Right, Man United. We ain't got a new manager.
New manager.
January, so
new
we're ahead of
manager.
everyone. So
New manager, right?
We can win it.
Of all those new managers, right?
Yeah.
Of all that can win it,
Yeah.
how many have actually won the league?
In this country?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
In this country?
So Germany doesn't count now.
Hey, he's only as good as his last job. Just got sacked.
By the way, by the way, that's an absolute shower of you know what. Arteta and Xabi Alonso, they're the only two that have won a major league. I leave it there.
He's never even managed in this league. And this is the problem.
Leave it there.
He's never managed.
Beaten.
You see? He's never
Don't forget
managed.
to send in that number because he needs it.
Myself and Rory, 10 o'clock.
And it's double Chelsea.
Serious Chelsea propaganda.
And the worst thing is I don't know who you can rely on in that show to get hold of one another to say,
no, you can't.
Stop doing this.
You can't.
Don't do this.
No.
We're going to be speaking to Kwaku in about half an hour. Maybe he might be able to temper expectations, or we just lure him into saying...
No, let's lure him into it.
Because also, let's not act like Chelsea haven't had about 1,000 false dawns.
Yeah.
You know, they're supposed to be doing this, supposed to be doing that. They spend big. All of a sudden, it crashes and it burns, and they've got to restructure.
I saw something before that apparently they've recouped
in
fees received over $1 billion.
Yeah, they're
over $1 billion.
when it comes to selling.
Recouped.
I don't think there's anyone.
On what?
Them and Man City.
All they do, they basically just, it's like buying a house and flipping it and selling it for a profit. They are selling sunset. That is what they are.
More Chelsea coming up on the sports part, but of course as well at 8:30 with
Let's go back to what we were talking about, which was Manchester
You said
United.
pre-season, yeah. So we lost the first game. That was just for fitness.
Drew at the weekend.
Drew against PSG at the weekend. Beat Atletico Madrid, beat Rosenborg. We've actually been pretty good. I've been really impressed with Andre Santos, who I wasn't fully behind signing, to be honest. Very sceptical, because at the time of signing him, we were still in for Atalanta's Ederson, and that was pretty much a done deal at the time before that deal collapsed. And I just thought, I don't understand what we're doing here. Like, why are we getting Ederson and Santos? That's not for me. And then when it was just Santos by himself, I was still a bit underwhelmed. Then Yuri Tillemans.
You've fallen in love, haven't you?
I love him. I think he's
falling in love in pre-season is kind of crazy, though.
Yeah, but we've seen him play before loads in the Premier League. Honestly, you had to see this 20-minute cameo.
Tell me about the cameo.
He was just perfect, Abby. No, he was just perfect. He was.
I need to.
Do you know what it is? All right. Do you know what it is?
Let me pretend.
If I'm being honest, obviously it's pre-season, right?
Yeah.
So you can't go too far. But quality's quality, right? The way he got on the ball, half turn, linking up with Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is turning around and going, finally. Apart from Kobe Mainoo, finally, there's somebody on my wavelength. Word to Liam Rossini. He respects the ball. No. He respects the ball. He wants the ball. He's at one with the ball. He's at peace with the ball.
He wants the ball.
He wants the ball. People are laughing at Liam Rossini. He was onto something. You do need players like that.
You did say you wanted him for England, so.
I do want him for England. But what I was saying about Yuri Tillemans, right, is that I just think that the fans are really going to take to him. And I think that he's going to be the pound for pound best signing of the summer.
I don't dispute that.
And pound for pound is the key term here.
What was it, 34 million?
35 million pounds. Because Elliot Anderson for 117 million, if he wins the league at Manchester City, at that price, you're going about par. If Tonali has a strong season, 90 odd million. Mateus Fernandes, 85 million. Top. Bruno Guimaraes, 75, 80 million. Big money. Now, don't get me wrong, these are top players. I think a lot of these players are very good.
Well,
I'm just saying, if Tillemans has an outstanding season for 35 million pounds, when we've looked around this whole window at the lack of value, he could be pound for pound the best signing this season.
I don't think that's a crazy shout. I actually think that probably pound for pound, that is probably one of the best signings of the summer,
I'm really happy with that.
As it stands.
Yeah.
It's Carrick's first full season in charge. Obviously, last season you only played 40 games.
Yeah.
You've now got more than 40 games. How confident are we in Michael Carrick? I don't want to set the scene that it's on a negative.
Yeah.
You're in a very positive state of mind. I think you should be.
Until further notice.
We're not flip-flopping.
Until new evidence provides.
We love new evidence.
That's
it. But Carrick, it is his first full season. It is a big challenge. It's a big step up. Obviously playing Champions League football as well. What is the expectation?
We need to be a serious football club again. And when I say serious football club again, of course, we need to get back to the top and win Champions Leagues and win Premier Leagues.
You're not there yet.
But I mean, let's just be honest about where we are. We've been so unserious. We've been a joke at times. You know, we haven't got back-to-back Champions League since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was at the club.
Crazy.
Like we're a European yo-yo club. We've gone from embarrassing. Last time we was in the Champions League, we finished bottom of the group to Copenhagen, Galatasaray, and Bayern Munich. Bottom.
Dropped a few in the back of the net, though, didn't you? That's
100%. That's what I mean. Embarrassing. Then we was in the Europa League. And something happened there.
Want to talk about it?
All right? No, we ain't got time for that.
Right.
Something happened there. Then we had no Europe, obviously, finishing 15th. So
Went out to Grimsby.
we're talking about Europe,
Just saying.
okay?
Don't miss that key fact.
Okay, but there's a lot of embarrassing things that have happened. Now, yes, fantastic we finished third and got back in the Champions League. So when you say about expectation, I want to, yes, stay around, like what Jason said, there's loads of new managers. Can we try and stay around the title talk for as long as possible? What normally happens at Man United is that distant dream is over by like September because we have like a couple of silly draws, one loss, one win, and it's like, well, we're definitely not going to win the title. And we are, I would say, miles off it. But I just want us to be competitive. I want us to kick on the type of football that we play. And a minimum for me, I just want to see us get back in the Champions League. And people can say that, oh, look at a Man United fan trying to you just want to get in the Champions League. You need to get real about where this team has been. And we still need more players to work towards doing that, because we've brought in two outfield players, three including Carl Darlow.
So what do you actually need then? Because obviously we spoke about Rashford earlier.
Need a lot.
Rashford coming back in to the mix.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah. You just said, what was it, 17 starts? You just gave me?
Yeah, I think about 17
We'll
starts,
have that clip as well, please, Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what about defensively? Because I actually look at Manchester United and I think that definitely needs improvement.
Yeah, we need a left back. Luke Shaw was outstanding last season. Played every single game of the Premier League, and of course, we was out in the cuts very early and didn't play in there. So he just played the 38 Premier League games. But he's never done that before. We would be stupid and naive to expect the same again in a season that's going to be hopefully full of 60 odd games, because we're going to, be a proper team. So we need a left back. I don't like this idea of relying on Mason Mount to be that third midfielder. I think we need to go and buy one. Very injury prone. He's been playing very well in pre-season, but we need that. And I would like another forward as well, and another right back if we can get that. But
It's
I don't
quite a big list.
We need a lot. So yeah, that plus Rashford's back as well, and the season's underway against Hull, which will be tough game. Any team coming up. Yeah, exactly. That's live on talkSPORT, 12:30 kickoff. Actually, I'm really looking forward to it. But those difficult games are the newly promoted sides first day away. You don't really know what they're.
Can I just ask you very, very quickly before we go to a break? European football and Champions League. Like, what is actually what is your expectation for Champions League with Manchester United?
Don't get embarrassed. So what is it now? You need to finish in the top 8 to go straight through, and top 24. So make sure you're getting through to the group stages, to the knockout stages. Sorry, that's minimum. Because obviously, in the round of 16 and whatever, you could get PSG, you could get Real Madrid, and it's fair game. But get out of that league where there's 24 opportunities to finish somewhere to make, and even that, I don't really want to play the playoff. Get in the top 8. If you can do it, finishing 4th in that playoff.
Don't know how we did that.
League. Exactly. So if you can do it, we can. Right, this is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Next up, Marcus Rashford is back at Manchester United. He's back in the squad. What is next for him?
There aren't any options for Marcus Rashford on the table, So there were rumours about Turkey. He's not going to Turkey. I don't care. Mo Salah's gone there, which everyone was absolutely staggered by, I think. But he's not going to Turkey. I don't see where Marcus Rashford's options are. He needs to, get on with it and knuckle down. But do you think he'll start?
Well, if you was thinking about what United have, and if you think of Cunha and Mbeumo in those wider areas, I think Marcus is going to find it difficult to knock one of those out of the way, because Mbeumo gives the perfect balance off the right side with his left foot, Cunha with his pace. Šeško, I think, gradually started to really get up to speed, and I happen to think with his height and everything else that he possesses, I think he could be a really, really impressive centre forward for United. So I think Marcus has got it full on to get in the United team. But the thing with him is, the thing with Marcus Rashford that I've seen in the last 18 months he's been out on loan, it's flashes, you see. It's flashes. It's only bits and pieces. I don't think there's ever been a consistent thread running through everything that Marcus is doing. He had a little spell obviously at Barcelona, not easy to go there, and he did reasonably well. Same at Villa, but there has to be more at 28 years of age and to Marcus's game than just these little moments, cameos here and there for 10 and 20 minutes. And he's got to be more significant in any team that he plays for. That's what I think when I look at him. Undoubted talent, but it's just bits and pieces you ever see.
Evening, people. This is the Transfer Insiders right here on talkSPORT with me, Flex, and Abbi Summers. You're right there.
Yeah, go
Finish your sweet. Finish your Colin the Caterpillar.
Let me finish my speech.
He's rushing it through during the break. We've had a lot. We've had a lot of jam-packed stuff going on. We've been talking Liverpool. We'll be talking Chelsea a little bit later on in the show. Also, Manchester City coming up as well. What are they going to be doing? And Abby's beloved Spurs. We've given her a grilling on them. But we are on the topic of Manchester United right now. And before we left you, we have to talk about Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford is back. He has a squad number. He's back in the squad. I can't believe it. But you know what? I'm in for one last year. I'm in.
One last dance.
Yeah, I'm in. If my heart gets broken, I know that I am very acutely aware that this splits the fan base. You know, what does this mean? He said he wanted a new challenge, etc., etc. And Marcus Rashford has made mistakes. Absolutely has made mistakes. Manchester United have made mistakes. It was probably best that both parties go their separate ways. If I was going to choose a situation to happen, I would have chosen us both to go our separate ways. But guess what? Sometimes in relationships, you might break up. You can't move out straight away. Mortgage. Can't move.
Takes time for things to go through.
We have to live in the same house.
Yep. Coexist.
The house is big enough. I'll stay down that side of the room or down in that bedroom. You stay in that one down there. And there's no point both of us living rough or struggling.
He's been renting.
Exactly.
Trying to rent.
That's all that's happening. And maybe, just maybe, it can work. So I'm under no illusions that this is, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I'm not sitting here saying, he's going to prove everyone, he's going to be exceptional. Just you wait. I don't know.
Be nice if he did, though.
Oh, 100%. I think Michael Carrick will be super happy that he's coming back because he won't be in the class of, you know, what happened under the last manager and how Marcus was feeling. He'll just see it as a challenge and see it as, look, I've worked with this player. I've played with this player. He played, I think he played in the team that Marcus Rashford made his debut in. So he's very experienced in that. And if anyone would believe that he can get him going again, I think Michael Carrick would. Whether that's naive or not, I don't know. But I also, and maybe it's this practicality in me, if I'm being honest, in terms of what do you want us to do? We were stupid enough to give that big contract.
Yep.
You know, it was too big. That's why nobody wants to pick up the wages. He wanted a new challenge. He's not the first player to say he wants a new challenge. He did go off to get the new challenge, and it hasn't transpired that he's managed to go. So, but I do understand why a lot of Man United fans are against this. I'm not going to argue against somebody who says he shouldn't be here. But for me personally, I'm like, look where we're at. It's happened now. He's got a squad number, and he won't get booed. I think there's this thing of that he'll get booed on match day. The match-going fans won't boo him.
I don't think there needs to. Look, obviously, I'm not a United fan, so you guys feel how you need to feel. But I just think there's no point of booing him. Like, it's a fresh season. It's a fresh start. Like, he's one of your own. Like, ideally, you want him to be doing well and come back and hit the ground running if possible. When he's locked in, he's brilliant. He's one of the best. And like we've seen that from time and time again when he's managed to prove people wrong and he goes through those purple patches. It's just, I think, the consistency with Marcus Rashford, which has always been so infuriating. But I would also say that he has been used as a scapegoat for Manchester United and Manchester United's failures so many times. He's 28 years old? He's still, technically, he's in his prime, really.
Yeah.
Like there is still a player in there, 100%. And if Michael Carrick can get the best out of him, then brilliant. And I actually agree with you. I lean towards that I think that if anyone can, having that relationship with him that he does. The last time he was kind of in that spell was under Ole, right? Like that he was thriving. So I think that someone like a Carrick can bring
and
that.
Eric
out of him.
Ten Hag, that's when he got the big.
And Ten
got
Hag.
30 goals this season. That was his best season.
But yeah, I mean, let's see if that does happen. So whether or not he's in the starting 11.
No, I don't think he'd be in the starting 11 immediately because listen, so much has happened. He's gonna have to work his way into the squad. And there's no guarantee. How does Marcus Rashford feel about this? You know, it's all good fronting it up and smiling and looking good body language, but how does he feel deep down? Does he want to resurrect his career and get some calm and have a place to stay and really do what he should be doing at this stage of his career? Or is it going to be patchy again? Is it going to be bitty again?
Do you think he would have preferred to move away?
Oh, he said it. He wanted to stay at Barcelona.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's rubbing a lot of Manchester United fans, up the wrong way, because he said, I'm ready for a new challenge. And then, of course, when asked and posed the question towards the end of last season, a reporter said to him, you know, what do you want to happen? He said, I'm not a magician, but if I was, I would stay here. But let's see what happens. They go on to sign Anthony Gordon. I don't think anyone had that on the bingo card.
Definitely not.
But I think I'm ready to give it one more go. Out of because I have to, but also I'm just
There's probably a part of you that wants to see him do well.
A little part. I mean, I really didn't think I'd be here, but because I am, my way of coping with it is I'll be at the games. What am I going to do? Keep booing him all the time? And also, let's be honest, and this is all football fans, all fan bases.
Yeah.
I'm not having a dig at anyone. We're all fickle.
100%.
We're all if Marcus Rashford scores a couple of goals or comes on in the derby, scores against Manchester City, starts pointing at the temple, pointing to the badge, you know, some miserable people will be like, well, where was that? But in the moment, it'll be, he's in good form. He needs to play. Do you know what I mean? So equally, if he doesn't do anything, then rightly so. So
How long has he got left on that contract?
He's got a couple of years left. He's got 2 years left. So you never know. He could play so well, gets a contract extension.
You can't even reduce the wages.
No, there's still so many things. Unless there's a massive offer, I don't think Marcus Rashford's going anywhere. And maybe it's a case of he might just go through to the summer. To January and see what happens. Jose Mourinho's documentary is released tomorrow.
Can't wait.
And yeah, I mean, what a guy Jose is. Everybody loves Jose Mourinho, right? And I'm so happy to see him at Real Madrid. I can't believe he's got a crack at another massive job. I really thought that he was just done at that level.
Yeah.
So that he's either going to win the league and restore them like first trophy in a couple of years, and that's why I'm still the special one, or be sacked by Christmas.
Yeah, it can go one of two ways.
But the Netflix documentary is coming out, and there was a big revelation in the sort of trailer where he's sort of exclusively revealed. He says that in the clip, sort of, you know, I can tell now because I don't think I'll hurt anybody with this truth, but part of making this documentary is to be truthful. And he says that, you know, he had it all signed and sealed and delivered in 2013 to replace Sir Alex Ferguson when he left Real Madrid. But he had a change of heart and
he went back to Chelsea. Is that a massive revelation? Like, is it more of a thing that, like, what would Manchester United have looked like had they have got him earlier instead of getting David Moyes? Or is it just like, well, you got him anyway, it was a little bit later. Would Chelsea have won the league if he wouldn't have gone back? But he was Chelsea. I mean, obviously he's been at so many other clubs since. But
that's his club.
It's his
he
club.
said that's the reason why he changed his mind. He said, you know, listen, Manchester United is essentially a close second to Real Madrid in size, but feeling the love at a club like he felt at Chelsea. And I think, look, this coming out 13 years later, it's like, well, as a United fan, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with
I don't think you're going to hurt anyone now.
No, and that's probably why it's coming out now. And Chelsea fans, it's like, yeah, that's why we love you, Jose. You come back home, our greatest ever manager. A lot of Chelsea fans do say, and still I agree with. Yeah, it worked for him. It didn't work for us. The only thing I can say is, of course, that Jose Mourinho coming out of Real Madrid when his stock was still so high would have been incredible to see what would have happened if we would have got him. But, you know, what would we have given him? Fellaini? Like we did in that window. We didn't sign anyone.
Mata and Fellaini, was it?
It was terrible.
Well,
terrible. When David Moyes wanted like Gareth Bale and people like that, would the allure have been higher? Because it went from Sir Alex to Jose.
Maybe.
So things could have been different. But as a United fan, I think it's like, I mean, it's so far off. It's like, what am I supposed to do?
13 years. Like, there's been, it's way too long ago. But no, I mean, I wouldn't have blamed him for going back to Chelsea anyway. Look, he's a manager that we've all had.
Yeah.
I've had him at my club. That was unsuccessful.
Sacked him before the final.
Yeah. That was probably the only time I actually wanted him there in the first place. We've had him. You've had him. I mean, he arguably actually was spot on with what he said about you lot. Finishing second was his greatest achievement.
Yeah.
We all laughed at him.
And now look. He's right.
Not laughing now.
I do love Jose. How do you think it's going to go for him this season? Do you think he's going to get Real Madrid going again?
I think what you said earlier is spot on. That could go one of two ways. It's all smiles while it's all smiles. And then it can just very quickly like that change up. Like, he's a great personality. I absolutely adore watching him at other clubs. I think he is an icon. He is a legend. Did I enjoy him at my football club? Absolutely not. But that's not to say that what he's achieved, again, my club were never going to match his ambition. Your club was, again, in a weird transitional stage. Madrid back their managers.
Won us a couple of trophies.
Yeah, he did. But Madrid back their managers. He's got the superstars that a manager like a Jose
I can't wait to see
needs to make sure that he can do what he needs to do, which is win trophies.
Yeah.
I think that this will restore Real Madrid.
Do you? So you think he's gonna break the trophy drought?
Yeah, I do.
Of some sort.
I do. Champions League?
Yeah, I think one of the big ones.
Yeah.
Champions League.
I'm
going to say La Liga.
I'll say Champions League.
Okay, I think Jose's
I'll back
gonna
it.
win the league. Yeah, I'm going to go for that. One thing he definitely still does have is the allure of the room. Like, I went to
Aura is 10
it's
out of 10.
I went to we played Fenerbahce in Europa League. Obviously not last year because we weren't in anything, but the year before. I just sat in the press conference room and he walked in and just the whole room just still lit up. He just still has this big, imposing.
It's aura.
You know,
it is just
big aura, and it will never die. So to see him go back to the very top of football, when everyone was saying this guy's should go take the Portuguese job or should go and do this, that, and the other, he's like going back to Real Madrid. Incredible.
But he does have to have what? He does have to have the tools.
100%.
He can't have Oliver Skip and Harry Winks in the field.
He doesn't have that at Real Madrid. I'm pretty sure he'll be fine. Right, this is the Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT. Next up, it's time to talk Chelsea, and we're going to do that with our good friend, colleague, Chelsea broadcaster, all-round nice guy, Craig Kufari.
Can't wait.
Max Dowman could be like it's like having a new player.
What's that? Wow.
Because surely this has to
And
be
how many
a season.
players playing this side, by the way?
Yeah.
Tell me how many players are out there on that side where Downman was playing on the right a lot of the time. Do you know what I mean? I mean, they are just stacked, caked out wide.
Do you back Dowman to have? I mean, I think it was his breakthrough season last season, but he was in and out.
Breakthrough.
Yeah, I know, it's absolutely mad. But do you think that this could be a season where he's regularly starting and making a regular difference?
I think he's a special talent. I think he's at the right club. I think Arteta will, they'll have a lot of games this year, and they've obviously, Champions League as usual. You'll see him more this season than last season. That kid is a star in the making, and he looks like he's made of the right stuff, and he's very exciting every time you watch him. So when you see players like him in Rio at Liverpool, the future's very bright for the English national team, right?
Without a doubt. I think that come January, Arsenal fans might be looking back at the Vinicius Junior story and thinking, we didn't need him because look at what Max Dowman's doing in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And I'm not comparing him to Vinicius Junior before people shoot me down. What I'm saying is that in Max Dowman, you have the potential of a world-class talent. And if you continue to nurture him and release the handbrake on the minutes and on the game time, and I know you're protecting him as a young player, but if you do want to play a slightly more attacking, entertaining brand of football, then Max Dowman is the man to hang your hat on because he's something special.
No, I love the look of him, but let's not kill the kid either and put too much on him at 15, 16. But they're stacked. I mean, I know everyone's worried about the left side, Martinelli, obviously Trossard's now gone and all those things, but I still look across their forward line and go, Arsenal could win the league again with what they've got.
Evening, people. This is the Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT with me, Flex, and Abbi Summers. We're going to be with you up until 10 p.m. before we hand over to the lunatics in the sports bar. We've seen Jason Cundy come storming in here, shouting at odds about Chelsea this, Chelsea that, new manager this, new manager that. Look what we're going to do.
And do you know what?
And Rory Jennings, of all people, is going to be there to calm him down and talk some sense into him.
Yeah, that's a sentence I never thought I'd hear. And Jace did all that in a pair of flip-flops.
He did.
All of that.
He did.
Crazy.
He's technically still on his holiday. He's technically still there. Right, it's time to talk Chelsea now. And we're gonna do that by talking to our broadcaster and all-round friend,
our good friend,
and Chelsea fan, Kwaku Afari.
Where are you?
Yeah, where are you?
Where
Kwaku?
are you?
I'm here.
Hi.
Jason Cundy's just been in here, Kwaku, shouting at odds about how Chelsea are going to be up there for the title.
As he should.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. All right, we know where this is going. Okay. Shouting at odds about how, they're up there for the title and this, that and the other, and all these new managers, who's actually won a title out of all the new managers in a different country, but he hasn't managed in the Premier League, your guys, Abby Alonso. Are Chelsea going to be able to push for the title?
This is a Chelsea team that will be playing one game a week. You'll know very well, Flex, what that feels like to be playing one game a week.
Yeah.
And you
Easy improvements.
Easy improvements, right?
Yeah.
And you did a manager who's a lot worse than Xabi Alonso. You went from 15th to 3rd. And so I look at the Chelsea team, and again, I'm not going to do what Cundy's doing. I'm not going to walk into the studio with flip-flops on and talk about us winning the league. I just feel it in my heart. I've got the flip-flops on in my heart.
You've got the flip-flops on your heart. You've been there. It's a full storm.
I've been here before. That's the thing. Sometimes you got to act like you've been there before. And that's one thing I'd advise Cundy. Act like you've been there before. Because we remember 16-17, right? Chelsea finishing 10th in the league. A manager that's famed for playing the back three comes into Chelsea. He changes the league, and Chelsea win the league and they run away with it, getting over 90 points. So I've seen this story before. I've been there before. It's a wait-and-see job of Chelsea. But I'm expecting a very, very good season from our boys.
By the sounds of that, Quakes, you're basically telling us that you think that you're going to win the league.
I'm just saying I've been there before, Abs. The same way that you've been there before finishing 17th. Yeah, I've been there before trying to win a league title after a really, really poor season. And so, let's just see how we get on. Okay. Obviously, these new signings have to assimilate. They have to kind of work on the pitch. And Xabi Alonso's got a lot of work to do to rectify some of the faults from last season, some of the bad work that Maresca did, some of the bad work that Liam Rosenior did. But when I look at Xabi Alonso, this is a manager that before he went to Real Madrid, was viewed as being one of the most prestigious managers in the world, one of the hotly tipped managers to go and take over football, and obviously didn't work at Real Madrid. But I'm looking at a man that's looking at Chelsea as a project that he can really get his hands around and really take the club to levels where we belong.
You're really backing them. I love it. Love it for you. Love it for you. Can't wait for it to tail off at Christmas. You've done a lot of business, though. A lot of business. Morgan Rogers being one, Lacroix, Quenda. So you're happy with the business? Do you feel like you need more? Less?
I'm happy with the business. I'm happy with the business, Abs. Like, I think that we've done a good job. I don't think that league titles or achievements are won in the transfer window. We saw that last season with Liverpool, who everybody said had the greatest transfer window of all time and had a disastrous season by their standards last year. And so there's still a bit of work I'd like to see done in terms of outgoings, getting rid of that excess number of players in the squad and maybe addressing the goalkeeper situation. So it's not been a perfect window by any stretch of the imagination. But what I like is that this squad has been built in the image of Xabi Alonso. And before, under previous managers, whether that is Graham Potter, whether that's Pochettino, whether that's Maresca, or whether that's Liam Rosenior, they were head coaches. This is a manager, and we're seeing our club move like a proper football club for the first time in a long time. And Xabi Alonso seems to have a big say in the transfers in and out of Chelsea. So I'm happy overall.
I'm not going to lie. All jokes aside, I have been impressed with the business and that you've done, and I can see the clear shift in strategy. I think Chelsea fans are absolutely right to have been sort of up in arms over what Clear Lake have been doing, and Todd Bowley, etc., with the decisions that they've taken, with the types of players they've been buying, and it's easy to sort of talk the talk and say we want to change, and it's a period of self-reflection, I think, was some of the words used when Enzo Maresca left the club, but it's putting it into action. And I think by you going for people like Rodgers and getting him over the line, Lacroix getting him over the line, even the intent to get somebody like Granit Xhaka, to get Alex Scott, there's intent there. That shows you what Chelsea are trying to do. And I think
the
people...
experience as well.
With Welbeck and Henderson.
Yeah.
I think that's smart stuff to do. There has been a few links, Kwaku, to Martin Zubimendi. coming up at the minute. Nothing concrete, but just a few sort of loose links, you know, and sort of linking it into Enzo Fernandez, where it looks like Maresca might want him to fill the Rodri gap. Not saying they're the same type of player, but could you see something like that? Would you be interested in a Martin Zubimendi doing a bit of business with Arsenal again?
Maresca might want Enzo, but I want to be 6'3". Doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow. Like, he can keep his hands off, and the perception of Enzo Maresca has completely shifted the Chelsea manager. I think he helped kind of build this image of the board who are unruly and doing things against what the fans want, because he kind of torpedoed our season last year. So he can want Enzo Fernandez, but he ain't getting him. In terms of Zubimendi, I think he had a good start to the season for Arsenal last year, but everybody saw him tail off. Maybe that's because of physicality. Maybe that's because of his first year in the Premier League. But he's obviously a good player. I wouldn't love my football club to sign him. I don't think he takes us to the next level. And in midfield, I think we've got that position sorted. Unless there's a market opportunity like a Fabian Ruiz, then I'll be more interested. But a Martin Zubimendi, who had data on and we had tapes on over the last season, I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's what Chelsea need right now. I think Chelsea have got that style of player, whether that's Enzo Fernandez or whether that's anybody else in our squad. And I just think that Zubimendi, just for me, is a little bit physically weak and fragile for the Premier League.
Well, another one of yours, Pedro Neto, Quakes, he's linked with Manchester City and he's linked with Arsenal as well. Are you kind of surprised to see that link so early in his Chelsea career? Is that something that you would be happy to sanction him going?
So Pedro Neto divides opinion amongst Chelsea. I say divides opinion. A lot of Chelsea fans have soured on Pedro Neto. They think he's not good enough as a winger. But as a wing back, I've seen reclamation projects before at Chelsea turn out positively and us win the league off the back of it. Nobody had Victor Moses down as a world-class winger. Nobody had Victor Moses down to have a long-term future at Chelsea. Antonio Conte comes there with a new vision, sees Victor Moses as a wing back, and all of a sudden his Chelsea career is revitalised and Chelsea win the league. And so I think Pedro Neto as a wing back, which we've seen him play during this pre-season, albeit as a right wing back, I prefer to see him on the left-hand side, but he could be an option and reclamation project from a manager like Xabi Alonso, who can maybe view him in a different perspective and find a new position for him, because I don't think he's good enough to be a winger at Chelsea. Obviously, he's not defensively sound enough to be full-back, but as a wing-back, that might be his perfect position. And so I wouldn't like to see him sold to one of our direct rivals, whether that's City or Arsenal, because we've seen that happen before. And I wouldn't say that Kai Havertz has been a resounding success at Arsenal. I wouldn't say that Noni Madueke has been a resounding success, but they're players with medals at one of our rivals, and I don't like to see that. So keep your hands off Arsenal, keep your hands off City. If you want to go anywhere, Pedro Neto, you can go Saudi, you can go Italy.
Wow, look at you trying to tell him where he can and can't go. Since when did you become his agent?
When did you become Todd Bowley?
Huh?
When did you become Todd Bowley?
What do you mean? I'm just as rich as them, no?
Just as rich, are you? I've never seen you pay for a coffee. I've never seen you put your hand in your pocket once, mate.
Don't you start.
He goes to the free coffee machine here, so they got you a coffee. That's what he does. Malo Gusto, Kweku, Malo Gusto, right back, right wing back, etc. Potentially, links there with PSG. Would you like to see him stay? Is that somewhere where you need an upgrade in this Xabi Alonso formation and system?
Again, I want to see us play three at the back. During pre-season, we played a mixture, whether it's forward back or three at the back. I think Malo Gusto is a perfect right wing back. Again, not defensively sound enough to play right back, definitely not a right winger, but as a right wing back, I think he'd be perfect. A lot of Chelsea fans are enamoured by Marco Palestra, who's had a very, very good pre-season. Signing from Atlanta, was voted Serie A Defender of the Season last year, was in the Serie A Team of the Season last year, and Chelsea got him in for a reasonable fee. And during pre-season, he's looked every much the player that Chelsea fans were hoping. But I think Malo Gusto has a chance to challenge him for that position on the right-hand side as a right wing-back. Gusto's a good player. I know last season wasn't the best for him, but it wasn't the best for a lot of Chelsea players. And I think a manager like Xabi Alonso might be able to get the best out of a player like Malo Gusto. And for me, I'd keep him this season, because if you look at our right wing-back options, if we do go three at the back, I don't see Reece James playing there long-term. His hamstrings, I don't think, can take it. The rigours and the demand of playing as a right wing-back in terms of up and down, I don't think Reece James can do it at this stage of his career. And so in that position, I think that Malagusto and Marco Palestra are a good rotation to have in that area. But if PSG want to offer us stupid money for Malagusto, then we'll have a look. We'll definitely have a look.
We'll have a look.
You like the sound of that, innit?
Yeah, well, I bet you'll have a look. Just finally, Quakes, on Nicholas Jackson, because your fan base seemed to, you talk about being enamoured with them, but Nicholas Jackson seems to be the top of everyone's love list right now. The link-up play we heard earlier today, didn't we? Against
Matisse was telling us about AC Milan and a team that we haven't heard of before as well.
JD Sports, was it? Yeah. JDT, whatever it was.
I don't know if it was JD.
But apparently it was a great performance from Nicholas Jackson. Apparently he's the glue. Do you think he's the glue?
Oof. I don't think somebody who loses his head as often as Nicholas Jackson could be the glue. But he can be the solution in certain periods of games, or certain games where we don't start João Pedro as our number 9, or maybe can be an option out wide. Nicholas Jackson's a man that has clear qualities, but also has clear faults. He will never be the striker that, I think it was Pochettino described him as, saying that if he puts everything together, he'll be one of the best strikers this league has ever seen. I don't think he's that, but if you look at Cole Palmer's best seasons at Chelsea, he was linking up with Nicholas Jackson. And during pre-season, we've seen the best of Nicholas Jackson, and then we've seen him be profligate in front of goal, which is the worst of Nicholas Jackson. I can't, as a Chelsea fan, see my club get rid of Nicholas Jackson and next season, if João Pedro goes down with an injury, Danny Welbeck's our sole option as a striker, because I don't think Liam Delap's good enough. And so we have to keep Nicholas Jackson. But again, he's a player that other teams will be having to look at. He's a player that, for the last 3 or 4 years of his career, has been playing at the highest level and proves that he can cut it at the highest level. And so I know teams will be interested in his services, but as a Chelsea fan, as a selfish Chelsea fan, I want to keep him and tell him that you're not going to be our first option, but you're going to be an option for sure. And there's going to be certain games that we need your attributes, but we can't sell Nicholas Jackson when our backup option is Danny Welbeck.
Interesting stuff, Kwaku. You've basically just said that, you fancy yourself for the title. I expect nothing else.
That's what I heard.
It's easy, like you say.
Wait.
That's what I heard.
No, before you let me go.
We're getting on here, mate. We're going to have to let you go.
Break.
Yeah. You guys need to speak with Tess when it comes to your football clubs.
Producers in my ear, mate.
We've been talking for 2 hours. So listen to the show back. You can hear what we had to say.
Just press rewind, mate. You hear what we said on that. I'm going to have to go.
We've got to hang up.
Sorry, mate.
It's bad line.
Sorry.
Bad line.
Yeah, sorry, Quake. Have a good evening.
Bye, Quakes. Bye.
Kwaku Afari, big Chelsea fan, of course, friend and colleague here at talkSPORT. He's doing so much great stuff. We love Kwaku.
We do.
Even when he's in that type of mood.
Which is often.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of Chelsea fans are excited about what their team's doing.
Blue was a big shout there from Matisse.
He did look good, though. Nicholas Jackson, I'm not going to lie. He did look good.
But glue.
Right, Dan Lawless from West Ham Fan TV will be with us after the rumours that have come out today that they might be interested in a deal for Jamie Vardy to return back to England from Italy in the Championship. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT.
Jamie Vardy assessing all options. We know he was training at Leicester, but there was never a possibility of a return there. He actually had the possibility of doing 1 extra year in Italy, but it was subject on securing safety, so that never happened. And now he's a free agent. And West Ham may be opportunistic to this possibility. At the moment, those close to Vardy say that he's had several options, including from the MLS as well, and is basically just assessing. And don't forget, West Ham are starting to become well-stocked in terms of sources of goals, because Manor Solomon will complete his transfer to West Ham from Tottenham today. £5 million, £2 million in add-ons. He's got permission to undergo a medical as well. So Vardy, I think, is going to take his time. And for free agents, they're not bound by the deadline day. They can sign at any point. So let's see whether West Ham decide to move. But I'm told by those on the player side that Vardy is going to think very carefully before making his next decision.
Did I see Troy Parrott? West Ham are trying to get him as their main striker. the Irish boy?
Yeah, that's possible as well. I mean,
It's a
there's
great
quite a high
signing.
valuation, and rightly so, because he ultimately has been in excellent form. Ajax have added a couple of attack-minded options, but they were there for a little bit as well. And I think Parrott and West Ham could be one to watch. But when you kind of compare the two, you've got Parrott in form, younger, more expensive, Vardy, free agent, but still a relatively high wage, you would imagine, as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if West Ham had one more, and that's maybe where these Vardy links come from.
This is the Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT. We've made it this far.
Time flies. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, but I was going to say that I don't think that's true.
Oh, you're not having fun? You're not having fun?
I don't think it is always true when you're having fun. Sometimes it can just fly when you want something to end quickly. I'm joking.
Wow.
This is the Transfer Insiders, me, Flex, and that is Abbi Summers. We're going to be with you up until 10 p.m. before we hand over to the guys on the sports bar. In under an hour of the show to go. Jason's already been in there. New hair, new vibe. Strong, tanned, ready to go. So he and Rory Jennings will be with you to give you all the latest goings on in the football space, and as well as all of this Chelsea stuff. You know, they're getting ahead of their stations. Do you think Chelsea can do something?
Prior to the window, you were there. I did say that Chelsea didn't really bother me. Like I didn't think much of what Chelsea looked like at the back end of last season, which I stand by.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's more the one game a week at Chelsea.
Yeah.
I see.
They're going to improve a lot.
Yeah, they are. And I see where both Jace and Kwaku are coming from.
Yeah.
Because they are right. Traditionally, when Chelsea have only had one game a week, they tend to do very well.
Better.
But do I think that they're going to win the league? No.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. They're not going to win the league. All right. From the Premier League to the Championship, now we're going to turn our attention to West Ham because they get their season underway against Burnley
this could have been,
on Sunday. It could have been you. It could have been. So you need to speak to this next guest very nicely. Okay, please done you a favour. We're joined now by Dan Lawless of West Ham Fan TV. Dan, my boy, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, guys. I'm good. The proper football has started. You know, we played.
You always wanted to be there.
The real league is underway. So
the people's
I'm very
football.
happy.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what? I've speaking to yourself over the years, or recently as well, and of course Nikki. I feel like there's a sense from West Ham fans that, of course, you never really want to get relegated, but this sort of cleansing of the club was needed. This sort of factory reset was needed. Stick the pin in the back of the toy, reset it. I feel like that's what a lot of West Ham fans have been like. You know what? Yes, we have gone down, but listen, we've kept hold of Jarrod Bowen. We've kept hold of some good players. We've got some amazing money for people like Somerville and Fernandes. So actually, it's not all doom and gloom, Dan.
No, it's not all doom and gloom. I mean, there were quite a few fans that wanted to go down for that reason. The idea that there'd be a reset, we'd get rid of a lot of dead wood and have a cleanse. I never wanted to go down, but now we're here. We've got that positive to look forward to and get rid of some of these players that maybe aren't adding to the team or on big wages and don't want to be here, and restart and refresh and come back into the Premier League anew. And we've got the ownership situation that we're hoping is resolved. David Sutherland's no longer on the board. and Amanda Staveley's floating around. And so there's exciting things happening at the club. We just need them to happen. And now we're hoping to assemble the most dominant championship side in history and come straight back up.
Do you think that you will come straight back up?
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning towards it. I was a bit nervous earlier in the window because it took us a while to do business, but I think keeping some of the players that we kept, like Bowen, it seems we're going to keep Mavropanos, hoping we're going to keep Castellanos, who scored 2 goals against Portsmouth. And then the additions that we're making, obviously we just announced Solomon, Troy Parrott from AZ Alkmaar seems to be close, and obviously we're going to talk about
Just
Vardy.
Troy Parrott. Are you just taking all the Spurs players in? Is that...
Now you know how it feels, isn't it? You love to take our players.
I know who I'd rather have though. One man's trash, another man's treasure, isn't it? That's the saying, how it goes. Speaking of treasure, Jamie Vardy, he is linked with a move to your club. 39 years old, 7 goals last season, 3 assists in 29 appearances. Is that a signing that you are happy to have? I mean, he does know the Championship very well, doesn't he?
I'm happy to have Vardy so long as we play to his strengths. The way Nuno plays at the moment, especially, I mean, we saw it first half against Portsmouth, you know, a lot of slow build up, sideways, backwards. Like, that's not going to work with Vardy. We're going to have to get the ball up top quick, through balls over the top. You know, he likes to play on the shoulder. So if we play to his strengths, then yes, like, you sign him and know that he'll be a backup player. He'll come off the bench. But when he comes off the bench, right, we're changing our approach now and we're going direct and trying to get those balls. So if we do that, otherwise, what's the point? He's just going to be another body. And look, I'm sure he's great for the dressing room. But free transfer, I'll take it, but I'm not going to do backflips. You know, he's 39 at this stage. Get him on a 1-year deal. And then, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, imagine that, just seeing Vardy housing his way through the Championship, giving it to all the different... I can 100%. I would actually love to see that.
Yeah.
I would love to see that for Jamie Vardy. Dan, Jarrod Bowen, of course, he's chosen to stay at West Ham. He's already scored. A massive, situation resolved because, his future was up in the air. How much of a massive plus is it to keep hold of your captain? And you're talking about breaking records in the Championship. Can he do that?
Yeah, huge. It's that was the huge one to sort. Not only is he our captain, he's our best player, and he's been our best player. The numbers he's been putting out, each season, it's only Salah that was putting out more GA than him in most seasons. So to get that wrapped up, and it sends so much confidence to the other players that are already at the club to say, okay, the team's moving serious. They was able to keep our best player, and especially when we go and sign other players. So that was important. I always felt like he would stay. I'm pretty sure when I spoke to you sort of last season and going into it, and I was like, yeah, he's staying. And I think you thought I was crazy. But he's a good lad, Bowen. I think he's settled down here in East London with his family and his young kids. And I wasn't too worried about him staying. And he will be now a West Ham legend if he fires us back up. I mean, he's already a legend.
I was going to say, he's giving you the best night of your life. What do you mean he'll be a West Ham legend if he gets you back up?
Yeah, that really. So he's giving us the best life. Listen, some of us are very tough with handing out the legend moniker.
Really?
When people say Declan Rice is a legend, I'm not having it.
Declan Rice is not a legend.
Bowen, he's not a legend for me. You can't just be handing out legend status willy-nilly, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've got a lot of massive legends. Jarrod Bowen, though.
Jarrod Bowen is definitely a legend. Yeah. The fact that he's even stayed.
Hang on a minute. Declan Rice was the captain then, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was. He was the captain. He had a poor game in that final, mind you. He had a poor performance.
You're
Hold on a minute.
Performance,
he's got on his CV that he won West Ham United European trophy as captain, mate. In your lifetime.
I've lied on my CVs before. You know what I mean? He didn't win it. The team won it. The team.
Oh wow! Jarrod Bowen racing away in the final moments won it. I'll give you that.
Crazy.
He's got a £15 million release clause though, Dan. If you don't get promoted, I think that's fair. And I mean, it's not a big fee for someone as good as Jarrod Bowen, but at least you're kind of semi-protected. If you don't, if it happens where you don't go straight back up, you know that they're going to get a little bit of money for him.
That if true, that is fair. It's devastating from a West Ham perspective because if you don't go up, you don't even get the benefit of getting a good fee for Bowen. And I know he'll be another year older, into his 30s, and maybe we'd probably be looking at 40, 50 mil for him,
Yeah.
depending on the season he has. But to be limited at 15, that will be a bitter pill to swallow. If we're not only we don't get promoted, but we have to sell our captain for so cheap. But yeah, listen, if he was going to commit to the future and that's what he wanted, then yeah, you've got to say yes. So I'm hoping, and I'm pretty sure we won't have to worry about that, and we will go straight back up.
Good if they stay down there.
You've got to win the league. That's what I want to see.
Well,
Not
Dan-
go up, win the league.
Dan, before you go, I just want a number. Just a number only. Not maybe this and context. Just give me a number. How many points are West Ham going to get next year?
We're breaking the 100-point mark. We're doing it. I'm going to say it.
What are you saying, 101? 102? 104?
I'm going to be conservative, say 101. Let's say 101. Right.
You'll be in room 101, mate. We'll get rid of you from the Premier
I
League
hope you
again.
get off to a good start.
Yeah, exactly. Dan, enjoy your evening, man, and have a great season. I know how much, obviously, your club means to you there. West Ham Fan TV guys are excellent. Him and
They are.
Nikki Hawkins as well. So Dan Lawless will be going through the ups
Thanks,
and
guys.
downs
Bye.
of the Championship. I hope they come back.
Yeah,
I think the
do-
Premier League
yeah.
is better with West Ham in it.
I mean, obviously, from a Spurs perspective, we don't like West Ham.
Yeah.
But they obviously firstly did me a favour by,
There you go.
not being good enough. But also, like, we work with Dan Lawless and Nikki Hawkins as well. So
Yeah, we want them back
We
up.
love
We want
them.
them with us.
Yeah.
Right, you are listening to the Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT. Next up, it's Manchester City. They are our focus next.
I totally got going for Vinny Jr., but I don't get going for just another one. And
Not Barkler. There's lots of reports that
I don't see Barkler at the sort of levels that others do. Clearly,
145 million.
I don't
they
see.
want.
I don't
You're
see
having
him
a
at-
laugh.
I don't see him at anything like that sort of money. I really don't. I think he is way behind Kvaratskhelia and Desiree Doué. Personally, I think they're far better players. I don't think he's got the end product in his game to warrant 140 odd million quid. No chance. And I don't think I'd swap Martinelli for him. I think I would.
for Barkler.
No, I'm honestly, because I think Martinelli knows this division, has proven himself now to be a valuable member of Arsenal's team, and I don't see that it's that much of a massive trade up for the sort of money that they'd need to invest in him.
Yeah, I mean, I have to disagree with you there, Andy. I think Martinelli, for me, I've just run out of a little bit of patience with him. 1 goal last year in the Premier League. He was good in the Champions League, but this has been an area that Arsenal have struggled with for a number of seasons, and I think it will be really, really disappointing for Arsenal not to address it in a bigger way than they've done already. Solis has shown some really good signs in pre-season. I'm putting my eggs in the Barkler basket, but maybe I'm just
not going to pay 145 million pounds for him. They're just
No,
not.
I don't.
You know, if that's what, and okay, there'd be some negotiation available there, but seriously.
Corinthian Casuals are a team in the Combined Counties League Premier Division South. Despite that, they're one of the most important clubs in world football. Here's why. The club was formed in 1939 as the result of a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, a man called Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. it wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3, you'll most likely bump into Brazilian Corinthians fans who often make the pilgrimage across the globe just to watch their founding team play.
It's the Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT. It's the final hour. We've had a marathon in here. We've been talking about Chelsea. We've been talking about Liverpool. We've been talking about Marcus Rashford and Manchester United. We've also been talking about Spurs. And actually breaking in the last couple of minutes is Mickey van der Ven, Abby's beloved centre-back slash left-back slash Speedy Gonzalez slash Meep Meep slash Bleep Test has signed a new deal at Spurs, which is massive for Spurs and what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I think it might be. Well, is it an extension? I think we're trying to find out what it is and how long it's.
We'll bring you all the details, but he has extended his stay at Spurs. Exactly. Under an hour left to go for the show. JC Cundy is going to be back as well. He's got his new hair, he's got his new vibe, and he's ready to rock and roll with Rory Jennings as well. He's going to be giving you the sports spa. But now let's turn our attention to Manchester City as well, because it's all changed. It's all changed at Manchester City, and the biggest change at that club, of course, has been the exit of the great, not the best ever, but the great Pep Guardiola. A lot of change there. Enzo Maresca coming in from Chelsea. A little bit of controversy around that one as well, about the changeover and when they were talking to. We're not going to get into that.
Was there a crossover? Yeah.
Was there a crossover? They haven't done a lot of business though. Obviously, massive fee paid for Elliot Anderson, which is extraordinary money. But a top player, had a decent World Cup, I think, as well. Have they got a lot of work? Have City got a lot of work to do, or have they just got a sprinkle? Because this is a new dawn, new era at the club.
It is. I wouldn't say that City have got a lot of work to do. I think that the outgoings are big characters, like the fact that Rodri is basically all but going to Barca. I think losing someone like Bernardo Silva, who was again like talisman, that is like Pep's favourite player, would never let him go in all the years that he wanted to go. Bernardo Silva, he was still there, loyal through and through. John Stones, another big character in the dressing room, also leaving. So there are big moments of change, like you just said. I don't feel like they have loads to do. I think that Elliot Anderson coming in, yes, you mentioned the price tag. I think at some point we have to stop mentioning the price tags, because the price tags are so ridiculous that what, we're just going to hold everyone to that standard?
Well,
like, the window is what it is.
The money's the money. Like,
The money's the money.
If you come in for that money, you have to deliver.
Yeah, and also, like, getting a player like Anderson, who's so highly rated, age on his side as well, like...
He'll be fine. I don't think he's going to be one of the ones where you go, you paid 117 million for that. He's terrible.
Do you know what? I would only maybe say, like, I really like Jeremy Doku. But I think, again, maybe he was a little bit more consistent last season.
He was towards the end of it.
Towards the end. But maybe just... Could they go for someone that was maybe more consistent? Like, obviously, Vinny Jr., for example, that's all done and dusted, put to bed, which I'm sure we will touch on a little bit with Arsenal. But that would be someone that I would think maybe screams a Manchester City transfer, or someone that they would put their hat in the ring for. Obviously, they're linked with Neto as well. Do I necessarily think that Neto adds to Manchester City? I think, again, it's one of those things where, because it's Maresca, and again, he's a good manager, but we don't know what he's going to be like in terms of him at Manchester City and what is the goal for this season for Manchester City. If it was Pep, I'd back Pep to kind of turn water into wine with whoever.
But it's an unknown entity
It's a bit of
at this level, even though he was at City before.
Yes,
as an
but in a different entity.
Different capacity. Yeah, I think when you, similar to Liverpool, that when sort of legends of the club leave, it's a new phase. Over the last couple of years, they've lost De Bruyne, they've lost Ederson, they've lost Kyle Walker, they've lost Bernardo Silva, Stones.
But it's a change. It's changing of the guard.
They've lost Rodri now, and exactly, it's a change of the guard. You can't. Players aren't going to stay forever.
No.
You have to, have a transition period where you rebuild.
New cycle.
But they've got. Listen, let's not forget that City got some very, very, very good players.
Very good.
I've been very impressed with Kashanov. Took him a while to get going. The young Uzbekistan centre back, but he looks very, very good.
Cherki looked very bright, very promising.
Cherki looks good. Needs to probably get up to speed a little bit. Looked a little bit off it in the World Cup, etc. But
first season,
he's a top talent. Semenyo came in, hit the ground running.
Absolutely.
Mark Gahey, you know what you're getting there.
Obviously Haaland.
Haaland, they've still got. Phil Foden is the big one for me.
Yeah.
Because, signed a new deal as well.
Well, they obviously still believe that.
Absolutely. And it's great for Manchester City fans. But this is a huge step for him now to be like, right, I'm ready to go and be Manchester City's main man again.
This is the season where you have to prove it. I mean, I feel like we've said this for quite some time.
Yeah, because he's had 2 seasons off now.
Yeah. But now there is no one really... There's no one kind of you can hide behind. Like, you haven't got the Bernardo Silvas and you haven't got the De Bruynes. It is going to be Phil Foden. We are looking at you. We are looking at you to step up and be
the player we know you can be.
Exactly, because we all know it. Yeah. We know it's in there. Obviously, we were talking before with Ben Jacobs and Buwadi. He's linked, 18 years old.
I mean,
moved from Lille. What was it, 85 million?
Yeah, 100 million, I think, potentially. It could be. And look, we don't know the official figures, but it looks like it can be a lot of money. And he looks like a really exciting young player, but kid's 18 years of age.
It's a lot of pressure to put.
Yes, he's starting for Morocco in the World Cup and had a good World Cup, especially in that first game against Brazil. He was excellent. And that's what really made people's eyebrows raise. But I feel like that's a big ask to say, right, kid, Rodri's leaving. We want you to fill his boots. And again, under Pep, you feel like, oh, that's a big ask. But if anyone can do that, it's him. But I'm not sure that's going to be the right way to go. I do like him, and I would back City to get something out of him in some context. But I just think it's really difficult to judge a lot of teams this season because, like what Jason was saying earlier before he left, which that everybody's got a new manager, right? There's so many unknown entities out of this Premier League, which makes it exciting, but it also makes it very difficult to predict who's going to take to it, what players are going to get, what managers' system quicker, who's going to understand the principles and the ideologies of what the manager's trying to put down. Is it going to be Areola? Is it going to be Xabi Alonso? Is it going to be Maresca? Is it going to be De Zerbi?
Is it going to be De Zerbi?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I just said to you off air. I think I love De Zerbi. I don't know why. I haven't seen us play.
What?
I haven't even seen us play a game of football yet properly.
So why did you say
So
that?
no, energy. Just the
Jose
energy.
Mourinho had energy on the side.
Energy.
Conte had energy on the side.
Yeah, different type of energy though. Conte and Jose felt like they
Honestly.
were doing us a favour.
Ange had energy. Your team played
And
with
I-
energy. First
I-
10 games, you thought you was going to win the
And I
league.
absolutely did love
High
it.
line for
I
life.
did high line for life, mate. I absolutely did love it, and I will still stand by when I saw us go
You
down to
haven't
9
learned.
men, and I saw us have Vicario in the 10. Yes, I did love Ange until I didn't. But I'm allowed.
love De Zerbi.
I am allowed to have good energy and excitement
Right,
for
okay.
seeing a new manager that I can buy into.
Okay.
I watched Thomas Frank a year ago sit there and say,
You
yes.
loved him when he got there as
No,
well?
I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I did not.
Right, okay.
Let's not lie.
Right,
I did not. Don't make things up.
Okay.
Let's not make things
So you
up.
didn't love him then?
I didn't love Thomas Frank.
Did you like him?
I thought he was underwhelming, but I thought he did a good job at Brentford. And then he sat there and he said, we will lose games, which he was absolutely spot on about.
Yeah, you lost a lot of
Spot
games. Before we break, just really
Yes.
quickly, where will City finish? Can they win the league? We're going to take the league back off Arsenal.
Hope so. Hope so. It is really hard to call because the only team that has got stability is Arsenal,
Yeah.
which means on paper,
They're favourites.
they're favourites. And on paper, they are the strongest to go and do that. But football's not played on paper.
Okay.
So, yeah, up the City.
Okay, there you go. Well, next up, we are talking Arsenal. Can they go back-to-back this season? That is the big question. Or is a slightly bumpy pre-season a bit of a concern as to the transfer insiders right here on talkSPORT?
So far this season, you've got Jeremy Jacquet from Rennes.
Yep.
And then you've got Victor Munoz from Osasuna.
Yep.
Obviously, Araujo's on his way, Barcelona captain, high-profile signing.
Yep.
But it just feels to me that maybe because of this transition post-Klopp and the failed project last season under Arne Slot, not the season before, maybe Liverpool are in flux in terms of who they are right now, in terms of identity and their playing identity.
No, I hear what you're saying. And look, it's the media's job to point these things out and come up with some kind of thesis on why Liverpool haven't won a title for 10 months. And I smile while I say that. But here's the reality. They're still the most successful club in England.
Yeah.
They're a world-known club. Everyone knows them. If they want someone and they can come up with the money, they can attract players. Somebody going to Real Madrid over Liverpool, I'm not losing sleep about. A French person going to Paris Saint-Germain because he's basically French and he lives near Paris. Again, that's not a club issue with Liverpool. We will make signings in this window. Areola will instill an identity. It'll be an identity that will be exciting for the fans to watch. I saw a lot of Bournemouth games last year. Any fans who haven't, go watch them.
Yeah.
They're young, they're quick, they're dynamic, they never stop pressing, they never give up. If he instills that at Liverpool, and it'll take a minute, it will be exciting. We might not be up there at the start challenging for a title, and it depends how far Arsenal or Man City get ahead. But don't write Liverpool off like that this season. Yes, we're a few pieces missing. We've got the defensive cover sorted now, apparently. We'd love a central midfielder. We'd love a right winger. We'd like a little bit more strength and depth through the squad. But I still think good things can happen this year. And pre-season games have no reflection on how our season's going to go.
Yep.
Evening, people. This is the Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT with me, Flex and Abbi Summers. Time now to turn our attention to Arsenal. And you can't. Why are you getting all excited to turn your attention to
I just
Arsenal?
want to look at Luke. Can I
Oh,
not look
okay.
At Luke?
Well, we haven't even introduced him yet. They don't know that Luke's sitting there.
Luke's here.
Oh, if you're watching. Luke Henry joins us from host of Game Changers, and he's obviously a huge Arsenal fan and friend and colleague here at talkSPORT as well. I have to say, Luke, you know, like when Arsenal won the league, and there's a few fans. Everybody has like fans that they know of all clubs, but like there's a few fans where you go, do you know what? If they're gonna win it though, there's some fans there's some that just really deserve this. And like, I feel like you fall into that category of,
thanks, man.
Nah, Luke needed. Do you know what? He stuck his neck when everybody was saying this, that, and the other. He stuck his neck out from way before it was cool. From way before second set. Like, you've been here doing this, so. Yeah, I do feel you fall into that category of you actually really deserve that title win.
Yeah, I took a summer break to relax and watch the boys in Girona for pre-season, so it's brilliant. I can't get away from it. As much as I try, I will never ever get away from it. But yeah, the 19th of May will live long in the memory. That was a very emotional night. And the 24th of May was even better when Odegaard lifted the trophy. But yeah, it's a journey. And look, it's happened, and now... But the one thing champions do is they don't stand still.
They don't stand still. You've got a massive, big, fat target on your back.
Yeah.
Everyone is trying to get to where you are, and they are trying to get that Premier League title off of you. This is it now. You are the hunted.
Yep.
Transfer business.
Yes. Silly season.
Now, Vinny Jr., it's done. It's over. Yeah. He didn't come. He chose to stay at Real Madrid. But you have got Bruno Guimaraes over the line. Just on him, you just said off air, we were sort of talking about then, Rodri leaving, you know, you're getting Bruno Guimaraes. Yeah. A lot of people saying, listen, Arsenal, on paper, best midfield in the league, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Vinny news has actually sort of undermined just how big this signing is. I think it's an incredible bit of business. Premier League captain, former captain. If you look at Arsenal, what Arteta has built in the last few years, Jorginho was a Chelsea captain, Rice was a West Ham captain, even Norgard was a Brentford captain. So there is a strong core for leadership. But what Bruno can give us is he can give us something to play with the 6 or the 8. He can play with Declan Rice. He can play on his own. He can play with Martin Zubimendi. Miles Lewis-Skelly had a breakthrough at the end of last season as well. Mikel Merino can play as a striker and play in midfield. So there's an abundance of talent. I haven't even mentioned Eberechi Eze's name in that as well, because you'll probably ask me about the left winger and the striker, and I have my thoughts on that. But with the signing of Bruno, it can unlock us to be more versatile. We can push further higher up the pitch. And yeah, at 28, it's a win now signing. It's a brilliant bit of business, especially in this inflated market, as I've said before, for £75 million. I know you said about Yuri Tielemans, and that's a release clause, but I take your point. But I think to get Bruno for £75 million in this market, I think they have done very well to get that. What a player, I'm really happy to see.
It is a very good bit of business.
Extremely.
It is very good.
He's just a great player.
He's brilliant. He is. I think he fits Arsenal. I think he fits Arteta extremely well. He's the type of player that I think does very, very well. I think he probably ends up starting, in all honesty, and I think that's probably why there's questions about Zubimendi. However, obviously you did, I say, miss out on Vinny. Was it ever real? Probs not.
I mean, I could give you
just a friendly flirt.
Well, no, I can give you some things to say that it was actually concrete. There was reasons for Arsenal fans to believe that it could potentially happen, but it's not now, and he wanted to stay, and he got what he wanted at Madrid, or close to what he wanted. But now Arsenal have to pivot and find another alternative. And
who is the alternative then?
Well, that's the question. I think this Bruno signing is sort of, it depends how you look at it, because, you know, especially on Bruno Guimaraes, just quickly, Arsenal could have signed him in 2022, and Arteta looked at him and thought at that moment in time he wasn't right for what he was trying to build, and that focus wasn't sort of what we wanted, and we went with Granit Xhaka, and we went in a different viewpoint. And then, you know, 4 years later we've now brought him. So I think the message behind that is sometimes it's good not to panic and not rush a signing, and I think this plays true to this left wing striker market now, because I think we find ourselves with a little bit of a conundrum right now. The market has a lot of potential. I think Vinny Jr. is a guaranteed success. So what do Arsenal do? Do they throw money and overpay for someone who is potentially very good? Or do they wait and see what the market's like in 6 months to a year and evaluate it like that? So I feel right now, I sit here and think Julian Alvarez would be someone that I would consider as more of a alternative striker. And then I look at Eberechi Eze as an alternative on the left-hand side. Look, we've got Gabriel Martinelli, we've got Christos Tsolis, who we've just signed. I watched him in pre-season, and he looked quite impressive. I was really impressed with him. Bright. He does look bright. He's quite direct. It's hard to pinpoint what he's like in terms of, is he actually a Trossard replacement? Because he gave me vibes of more of a Martinelli, but more of a refined Martinelli.
It's good at corners.
Very good at
straight into Arsenal.
Yeah, very good at set pieces. Yeah,
straight on them.
It's what we do. Set piece FC. It never dies. Set piece FC. So, It's a difficult one, but I trust Andrea Berta and Arteta and the job they have to do. I think it'd be a bit interesting if they didn't go for Vinny Jr. But like they said, they've been really good all season in the window in terms of having a fine line for what they want to pay. They don't want to go into overpay. You looked at Morgan Rogers, for example. They didn't want to go above 80 million and they walked away from it and they were happy to do so. And in this market, 117 million pounds for Morgan Rogers, I think he's an exceptional player. I still wasn't quite sure he was the right fit, what we're looking for. And that is the thing, because one thing with Arsenal, one thing we do lack is we lack pace. And if we are to get rid of Gabriel Martinelli on the counter-attack, which is, I think, the way we need to improve next season, if we go with an Eze, an Alvarez, a Kai Havertz and a Bukayo Saka, it's very high, it's very technically good, but it lacks a bit of raw pace. So then the Bradley Barcola story would make sense. However, Liverpool look like they're further down the line. Do Arsenal really want to go and pay 130 million for someone like that? I don't know. Arsenal fans will know the name Nico Williams. That's one that's never, ever gone away.
Yeah.
Can we prize him out?
We've been speaking about Marcus Rashford earlier. Abby was silly enough to think he'd go to Spurs, but do you think he'd go to Arsenal?
I said I wanted to.
Listen, Spurs would make more sense. I'm not convinced. And the reason why I say that is because I think Arsenal are at a stage now where we've done the samey projects. I think everyone has seen what we need to go to the next level. When you get so close into a Champions League final, you need to find that marquee attacker. Again, it's hard in this market, but I don't think there is any point in buying someone for 6 months to 12 months and then having to go and reevaluate that in a year's time. I'd rather Arsenal, if they weren't sure what they were going to do, I'd rather them just wait. We still got to go and find some defensive reinforcements as well because of Williams.
I was going to ask you about that, actually.
Yeah, and that could be a bigger priority because one thing we were so good at last season is being really hard to break down. And if you keep that core, when you've added Bruno Guimaraes and you keep the attack and you add a little bit of freshness in it, it's still going to be the same Arsenal. And you were saying earlier throughout the show, if you look at all the other teams around, unknown quantities. And one thing Arsenal are is stable, and that's the real big thing you can take into next season.
But what about defensively though? Because obviously Saliba's going to be out till what, Christmas?
Hopefully sooner, but worst case scenario, it could be November.
Worst case scenario, obviously Urian Timber is also out.
Yeah, that's a bit of a concern.
Yeah, and I would also think that, I mean, yes, you do have lots of other defenders.
Yeah,
but that is an area I feel like dare I say, it might be a bit light.
Yeah, it's ironic to say, but Arteta loves defenders. But I look at the signing, potential signing, hopefully, of Ezri Konsa. That would be someone I would really like. I think because he plays that style with Unai Emery, he likes to play out from the back, knows the Premier League, 28, kind of that win now thing, and comes straight in. The problem with Christian Mosquera and Gabriel, they are both kind of the same player. So you're losing that sort of ball-playing presence that Saliba carries. It's like the Terry and Carvalho and Ferdinand Vidic, that sort of partnership when you've got more of an aggressor, then you've got more of a button. Yeah, Gabriel is very aggressive. Saliba's very cold and composed on the ball. But then we've got the likes of Ricardo Calafiori. You've got Pierre Nketiah. I don't want to put Miles Lewis-Skelly in midfield, at left back, because I see him now as a midfielder. But if he can play left back, we have to. And look, Arteta, he's one to overthink it. And I was thinking outside then, I was thinking, listen, we've signed Bruno. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe Declan Rice drop in at centre-back and having Bruno and Zubimendi in there and he steps out to like the John Stones role, or maybe playing Bruno as an inverted right-back, because we've seen that. He tried that with Zubimendi at the back end last season. And that's one big thing from Arteta, is tactical and technical versatility. You need that. So he's probably looked at Bruno, and we probably look at him as a 6 or an 8, but he's probably thinking, maybe a right-back in there, or maybe something like that. So Konsa would be good. The thing with Arsenal, they just don't need to overcomplicate it. They need someone to come in at the back. They need a bit of freshness in attack. However they go with that, is it a striker? There's going to be a massive conversation about Kai Havertz and Victor Gyökeres. I don't think they can play together. I don't think it works. I think
Havertz just off him.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Who do you pick then? Who do you start?
I think last season a few Arsenal fans said it online. I have to agree. I think it's Havertz for big games, and I think it's Gyökeres for against mid-block and low-block sides, and it kind of works. And listen, the proof's in the pudding. The two biggest games last season at those moments were City away and the Champions League final. Who started up front? Kai Havertz.
It's always been when Kai Havertz was out for such a long period of time, I was always convinced that as soon as he got back, he'll be playing in those bigger. I mean, it's not a slight on Gyökeres. It's just an observation, and it's just the best way to get the best out of the team. Gyökeres did his job, got 20 plus goals in all comps.
Exactly.
Ended up a champion in his first season.
And he
Kai
made
Havertz
a big impact.
does his job.
Yeah, and they all did.
Yeah.
As they made an impact. But
exactly.
I can't talk about strikers, and I'm generally without mentioning Mikel Merino. Like, this isn't even like now. It's not a joke anymore. The guy's actually,
he's clutch.
He's a serious, but he's actually a 9. And you watch him in the World Cup as well. He came off the bench twice and scored then. So there is this actual thing about, how do we go into next season with Mikel Merino? Do we even class him as a midfielder? I said he can play midfield then, but I promise you now, I think if Arsenal are chasing a game and they need a goal, I think Arteta brings Merino.
How worried are you that you could because this is about a balancing act, right?
Yeah.
So you're in a position of strength, and we've all sort of been there when you're champions, and it's like you don't want to do too much, but you don't want to stay stagnant.
Yeah, it's difficult.
How confident are you, / worried, whichever one it may be, that you might get this wrong? Like, how much fine tuning actually? Because you're just sprinkling. Bruno Guimaraes is massive, but to the front three,
yeah, it's difficult.
How, like, if you had sort of this Zolos and Martinelli as the left wingers, and you keep the right wing as it is, and keep everything else as is, would you be extremely worried if you don't get this left winger?
It'll be very hard to replicate what we did last season.
Yeah.
I think we just naturally need... And look, Arteta said it in an interview. He said, I looked at the players I've got at my disposal. Can I score 80, 90, 100 goals with them? No. But I looked at what I can do, and I can be really hard to beat and break down. And Arteta wants that. But people forget. And I actually, it's funny enough, still think Arteta deserves a little bit more credit. We all talk about managers and trying to adapt. 22-23, we saw a wonderful style of football. 23-24 was my favourite year of this project because it was the most complete Arsenal team I've seen. Didn't win. And then he went to a little bit more of a defensive style, more of an, people don't like it, but more of an aggressive style. People that didn't like Arsenal because Arsenal, mainly criticised about being a soft touch and a weak underbelly. He deserved credit because he adapted to what he had. But now, this is going to be, to do that again, very difficult. And also, you want to be expansive. I don't think Arsenal, the players want to play on a 1-0 and trying to defend it out. It's hard on the defence. It's a big strain on defence. I think we only scored 71 goals last season in the Premier League, which is probably not enough to retain it. But again, it's easier said than done. You're looking at the market right now, and it is quite difficult. I don't know if Arsenal need to buy just for the sake of buying because they are Premier League champions. And the level is high, regardless of what we say. The players that play now are good, but it's just like, do we need to freshen up in certain areas, the striker and the left winger being the one? We've had this chat for about 3 seasons about the potential left winger spot.
Yeah.
Some people said it way before we even spoke about the striker role. It's just about how you view it. But it's weird. It's weird to be the one sitting here now being the favourites and being the most stable. I don't even know what I'm going to be like.
You like that pressure? You like that?
Listen, I mean, I love the pressure. I mean, I just trust what they do, and that might be a little bit blind faith, bit of blind loyalty. But I've trusted them because they've got us over the line, and what they've done has been brilliant. But they played 63 games out of 65 last season. This time they want to play 2 more. And play the whole
just to get over the line.
Just to get over the Champions League. It'd be interesting to see what Arsenal fans think now, because after winning the Premier League, I mean, you asked me loads of times, what would you rather win? I was like, Prem. Give me that Prem.
Yeah. But now you've got it. You might say, listen, if we lose out on the league, it's fine. Just get me that first Champions League.
Give me that Prem again.
I think it's Champions League now.
You've got to get that Champions League to be serious.
Yeah, but then Arsenal have never done back-to-back Prems.
Never won the
Premier League,
though.
of course.
In your whole history.
As
you always get.
So that's the exciting thing. There's still things we can do.
All the time.
This is true. Luke, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
I know you will be there for the thrills and spills, the ups and downs through it all.
Sunday, Community
next season.
Shield.
And
we'll be there. That's a spill or a thrill.
Exactly. A little bit of all of it. Like Luke just said there, don't forget the Community Shield against Manchester City is live on talkSPORT this Sunday afternoon as at the Millennium Stadium. And the opening game of the season, Arsenal versus Coventry City, is live on talkSPORT as well. That's Friday the 21st of August. You listen to the Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT. Next, we'll go through the latest transfers of the day.
Steve gets in touch with the United fans. He says, boys, with Rashford, we've been down this road so many times. We've sang his name, give him over 300 grand a week, backed him and watched him stink the gaff out week after week. Body language is such a huge part of football. It is. I can't sit in the Stretford end again and watch him sort of mope around and sulk on the pitch. He's worked hard for any club who'd take him on loan over his supposed boyhood club. We've been down this road too many times. Shake hands, get him out the door ASAP. Do you understand that sentiment from some Manchester United fans?
Totally. I totally get it. Yes, he's burnt his bridges there. I get all the reasons for it, and he's done himself no favours whatsoever. Like I said, the player had potential to be top. Really, it's time to buy him a giant mirror. It's like, look in the mirror, son. Barcelona didn't want to buy you for 30-odd million. That's a drop in the ocean for a club like Barcelona. Nobody in the Premier League allegedly wants you either. So I don't see any, I said recently maybe Tottenham should sign him, but they're obviously not getting the bids. So you're already at one of the biggest clubs in the world. Like, at some point, when does the penny drop? Because your next contract's not going to be 350 grand a week. The Saudi money looks like it's going away. I ain't sure Turkey, somewhere he's going to want to live. So where are you going after this? How old is he now? He's still, he's in his prime. So he's really got to figure this out and buckle down, or he's going to become a 31-year-old nobody, who basically his career is dried up and finished, in a few years' time. So really, maybe they're going to motivate Marcus Rashford. Maybe that will suit Man United. But I agree about the body language. I agree everything that happened before. And he ended up with a massive contract that they can't get out from under. So I don't think the people at United, the powers to be, will fall for that again.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave, on DAB, online, and on your smart speaker.
Totally topical transfer talk.
Fabulous stuff.
The Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT.
This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT with myself, Flex, and broadcaster and Spurs fan Abbi Summers. This is your whistle-stop tour through the main transfers of the day, and let's start with the news that Spurs captain Christian Romero could be on his way to Atletico Madrid. talkSPORT senior football correspondent Ben Jacobs gave us the latest.
With Christian Romero, the latest is Atletico Madrid are pushing to try and close this deal. No real surprise, because they had a long-standing interest dating back to last summer, and now they've been able to come in and have advanced conversations with Tottenham that are expected to result in the coming hours or days with a fresh bid. The player has already agreed to the move, and as it stands, Barcelona are not moving now, even though Ronald Araujo has been confirmed as a new Liverpool player on a loan with an option to buy. Napoli were there as well, and they actually agreed a deal already with Tottenham for 40 million euros, so about 35 million pounds, but not terms with the player. And that's because, as he said in a public interview a year ago, he'd like to go to La Liga. And this is really interesting, because the fee tells you, if we take the Napoli number, that it's kind of one market, Premier League to Premier League. Max Lacroix, 52 million. Jan-Paul Van Hecke, 1 year left on his contract, 52 million. Christian Romero's got 3 years left on his Spurs contract, and yet the fee is less. Why? Because you're dealing with a market outside of the Premier League. Player wants the move, and ultimately the exit suits all parties. So Atleti are hoping to close this one in the coming hours to avoid any potential surprises, but they are the clear front runners, and the deal is close.
Ben Jacobs there saying the deal is close for Atletico Madrid to take Christian Romero off your hands at Spurs. Is this a deal that suits the club and the player to a T here? Because I think clearly it's strained relations, to say the least, for Christian Romero at Spurs.
Yeah, I think this is best for all parties. I think the situation just became completely untenable. I mean, giving him a new contract last season, giving him the captaincy, he has absolutely not risen to the occasion one bit, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think he fits Atleti perfectly. I think he's a player that Simeone will love. I think the Atleti fans will love him as well. Look, on his day, he can be world class, but he has got the bozo gene. He can be very rash. He can make mistakes. Discipline is a big, big problem for him, I find, with him at club level, not so much for Argentina. And yeah, I think there wasn't a future, in my opinion, for him at Spurs anymore. I really don't. Just behaviour off the pitch, behaviour on the pitch as well.
The fans have become frustrated with him, and the relationship has just broken down.
You can, you still get sections of the fan base, I think, that sit there and say, he's world class, he's Romero, blah, blah. It's like when you get a bit of a cult hero, and it's like they go steaming in for challenges, and
when it works and it goes for you, that everybody wants players like that.
That's all well and good, but I don't want it from my captain, and I don't want to be in a position again where my club captain was suspended for 8 games over the course of a season because of the disciplinary issues. And he doesn't lead and set an example. So I'm very happy to see the back of him. Again, this flirting with Arsenal, my club captain flirting with Arsenal. Like this is not something.
Maybe that was just paper talk. Maybe that was just rumours.
I think sometimes there's no smoke without fire, and whether or not it sounds like something Romero would do.
Yeah.
For me, I'm very happy to see the back of him. Mickey van der Ven has just signed a new contract. Obviously, we've got Van Hecker now. Senesi also came on the free. Got Kevin Danso as well, who I'm a big fan of. So for me, I'm very okay with seeing the back of it. I think it's absolutely the best decision.
Yeah, I think listen, he does have some good traits. When he's focusing, when he's on song, when he's doing what he's meant to do. But far too many times he just has this rash streak in him that he just short circuits and he just makes mistakes. He's diving into tackles, missing the ball. Of course, like you touched on there, the disciplinary record is not good. And there was one time when I started to give him a little bit of an easier ride when I was like, actually, he doesn't actually get sent off as much as I thought.
Well, there was a period
where it looked like you just associate him with disciplinary issues, but actually, when you looked at the record, it wasn't actually that bad, and then it became bad.
It became bad. There was a period of time where he actually went through. I think it was maybe like a year spell where he hadn't actually got sent off, but he's always on the line. And like we say, I remember we had it with Lamela, like you can love Lamela. I mean, not necessarily got sent off loads, but again, he was a player that played on the line, was aggressive, can be a bit of a cult hero, and that's fine. But that wasn't the club captain.
Really quickly, we're going to move on to Liverpool in just a sec. But how will Christian Romero be remembered at Spurs? What's his Spurs legacy? Because he did win the European Cup.
That's his legacy. He wasn't the captain. Heung-min Son was.
Yeah.
I think if you're asking me personally, I look back on Christian Romero as being the worst captain in my club's history.
Oh. Wait, I'm trying to think. Well, you know better than I. What captains have you had? I'm trying to think.
It's the disrespect.
Was Sol Campbell captain?
I
think he was.
Yeah, he was.
He's a worse captain than Sol Campbell.
On par.
When did you realise that actually Sol Campbell's on the mix? You're like, actually.
All right, we'll put Sol Campbell in the mix. Okay, no one's going to top that. That's elite. That's elite level. That's elite level. But I would say as a serving player.
Wow.
Oh, so Sol Campbell was out of contract.
Yeah. Okay.
When he did what he did.
Yeah.
But okay, he's still captain, but still, it's not the point. Fairs on that. But what I would say is.
Worst captain. What was it? Van der Vaart was captain, was he?
No.
Was he not captain? He's been captain.
Lloris was captain.
Oh, yeah, Lloris
Son
was captain for a long time. Son.
I think Michael Dawson, Ledley King.
Was Kane never? Oh, he's second captain.
Kane wasn't
Dawson,
captain.
yeah.
But what I would say is when I compare a captain like Ledley King,
yeah,
who again played with one knee, might I add, never trained, never did anything because he couldn't, and put his body on the line week in, week out, everything for this football club. And I compare him, again, to the Sol Campbells of the world, or I compare him to current.
That's the company that he's in.
He's in the presence of Sol Campbell for me.
Wow, that's incredible.
I strongly don't like him as a club captain.
I think you've made that very, very
We nearly got relegated, Flex.
Not just because of him. He hardly played. He was out all the games.
But he was missing for 8 of them.
That's harsh. Okay, next up, let's discuss Liverpool because they've announced the signing of Barcelona's Ronald Araujo from Barcelona on a season-long loan with an option to buy for €55 million. Do you think Liverpool might struggle this season? And is Bradley Barcola the guy they should be going after for a ton of money? Reported 100 million.
I think Barcola is a great signing for anybody. You know what he can offer. Is it the number one signing I think Liverpool need to make? No. Personally, I don't. I think that the gaping hole that has been left by Mo Salah, that is the key area for me. I also think that they need a ball-winning 6. I think that the problem in midfield, that engine room, it's not ticking. It's not ticking over how it should do. Obviously, McAllister had a pretty poor season as well by his standards. Gravenberch, again, didn't have the best of seasons. Szoboszlai is kind of the gem when you look at.
Yeah, he's a jewel in the crown.
Yeah, he is. But I think centre back, the right wing, and I think a DM. Those are the 3 areas.
Well, centre back they've just sorted.
Yes, okay, they've just brought in Araujo, but I'm still not like fully confident on that.
No.
On that back line. I think also if you look at left back, right back, the defensive frailties there.
There's just these weird question marks that exist, right? Because, listen, what you could say if you're on, excuse me, the side of optimism, you could say that Iriola knows Kirkes very, very well,
True.
of course, from Bournemouth, and this could be exactly what he needs. 1 year of being at a massive institution like Liverpool to get his feet, sort of under the table and relaxed. And you look at right back, it just doesn't.
Look, we don't know what this Liverpool team are going to look like. We actually don't. And I know you can base it off of pre-season, but pre-season is pre-season. I know that they were 2-0 up. They lost 3-2, was it, in the end to Monaco?
Yeah.
But there was a lot of changes that were also made in that. I trust Van Dijk to lead and kind of shepherd, like whether that is Jeremy Jacquet or if that is
Araujo. Araujo could be quite formidable.
And I think that he could kind of
maybe.
Like he can. I think that if I trusted anyone to be that A-sided centre back, we know how good Virgil can be. He didn't have the best season last season either. But again, even the way he elevated, I think Konate and Konate's game, I think that could be replicated again. But I do think the fullback areas, that is a big problem, and I do think that midfield is a big problem, and the Mo Salah miss. So, as good of a signing as I think Picola would be for anybody, whether that would be Liverpool, obviously he was linked to Arsenal as well, £140 million for a player that.
He's still rough around the edges, but he's got an incredibly high ceiling.
Of course,
2 Champions Leagues
but it's
in his chest.
Of course, but and again, if he's on the table, then of course you'd be silly to turn it down. But it's a lot of money for a player that I don't necessarily think is like, not him personally, but just the position. I don't think is the top 3 areas that need to be strengthened by Liverpool.
It's almost like if Liverpool get Bradley Barcola, which I think again they should get it done, but it has to be followed up by all of the other things they need. Because if that window closes and they look at right wing and say, what did we really do
and
there?
Are you banking it on Rio Ngamoa to play on the right? Is that what you're banking on? He's brilliant.
Yeah,
he's got an incredibly high ceiling as well. Amazing, breakthrough season last year, but that's a lot of pressure to be put in on him. I just think with Barcola, like you just said, the danger of that is if you miss out, then you don't want to miss out on a player that's available like Bradley Barcola. But the same way that last season they thought they weren't getting Alexander Isak, went and signed Ekitike, then obviously Isak comes back available onto the table and they can get him, and then you're left with a situation where how do you play Ekitike and Isak in the same team and get the best out of them both? That's the only thing.
That's a conundrum.
Yeah.
They've got a lot to work on, that's for sure. Right, this is the Transfer Insiders. On talkSPORT, up next, we'll get the latest on Rodri to Barcelona.
I know Salah didn't play as much last season, but to not have Mo Salah, your talisman, like who's going to take that now? Isak should, but he's right to call it there, Egan. His injury record is horrendous. If he gets injured again, touch what he doesn't, who's the striker? Gakpo, false 9?
Apparently they're in for Barcola. I like him. I think he's top player.
Do you think he's a £130 million player?
Well, if Elliot Anderson's 10, how much they paid for it?
110.
Morgan Rogers, your mate, has gone to
117.
117 million.
I know.
Like Barcola,
crazy, isn't it?
Of course, PSG are going to say, well, right, well, he's 130 million. He won the Champions League, played in the World Cup.
But if you're Liverpool, is that exactly what you need off that left-hand side?
Probably not. They need a replacement for Salah.
They need goals.
Yeah, they need goals.
Do you know what I mean? Barcola I agree. I love watching him. I feel like if I was a right back, I wouldn't sleep the night before playing against him. He's rapid. He's 6'2", wherever he is, long stride, quick, but he's not a finisher. The amount of times I've watched him and he's gone through one goal and he'll make the wrong pass and finishes are a bit wild and doesn't finish chances he should do. Liverpool need to be bringing in a winger who's going to get goals, because you can't rely on Isak. You can't. You should be able to. Wirtz isn't a goal scorer. You spent over 100 million for Wirtz, and he's not a goal scorer, mate.
feels like it's a bit of a mess.
McAllister wasn't good last season. How's he going to come back after the World Cup? Zoboszlai is obviously a fantastic player. Gravenberg needed some help last season in that number 6 as well.
I just can't believe that Liverpool, like, we're saying, yeah, Champions League. Yeah, we'd take Champions
I
League.
agree. Their fans won't like it.
Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT with me, Flex and Abbi Summers. Next up, let's discuss Rodri and the rumours that he could be joining Barcelona this summer. Here's talkSPORT's Ben Jacobs on the latest on where we are.
Yeah, I think this one will happen. Barcelona's perspective is they're finalising the deal, although Manchester City need another formal bid. But it's one of those where everyone's working verbally towards a number. Manchester City would ideally like 75 million euros. Barcelona are prepared with add-ons to go to in and around 65 million euros, slightly above it, according to my information. And as a consequence, there's no longer this big gulf in valuation. And City are aware that Rodri wants this move. So Barcelona's intent is to try and close it in the coming hours or the coming days, and that will allow Manchester City to attack the midfield market.
I mean, a massive situation there at Manchester City. Rodri, I mean, he's going to Barcelona. How much of a loss is that for City? Or at the same time as losing Pep Guardiola?
Massive.
And Bernardo Silva.
And Bernardo Silva and John Stones. No, it's massive. Yeah. If you think about the players that City have lost over the last couple seasons, but it's the end of a cycle. So look, they've won everything that there is to possibly win. Rodri, there's not many like Rodri. You know, ceasefires before they happen. You're kind of getting two players in one. I would say that from that long-term injury, I don't necessarily think he came back as, again, because the bar is so high when it comes to Rodri, I think that there was elements that he didn't look quite the same in some aspects. Maybe as the season went on, he kind of regained it, but I think it is a massive, massive loss. You can't. It's again, you know, like the famous line, we cannot replace him.
You can't. There's not.
You
another
cannot
player
replace
you can buy to do
Rodri.
what he does.
You can't.
I think what's really interesting about Rodri leaving at this time is that I feel like when he got that knee injury, and then was on his way back, there was sort of like an acceptance from many at City and maybe just, you know, most football fans that, well, you know, coming back from an ACL, it's going to be tough. He's probably never going to be the same Rodri again. Probably never going to reach those heights. So got to start planning. But actually, as he's leaving, well, you look what he's just done in the World Cup and his form towards the back of the season. Just got the best player at the World Cup.
Yes.
Got the award for that. Just got
most passes, wasn't it, as well?
Most passes. Just won the tournament. And now it's like he's leaving as like, actually, he is still the same Rodri. Not that he's a few notches down. So it's just kind of time. They would have liked him to absolutely have stayed, but of course, with everything he's achieved, he's chosen to move on.
I also think that yes, he has got back, especially towards the end of the season in the summer. He's got back to kind of where he was at before that. But I think him coming back, it was like he'd have a couple games on. He might not be at that same level. Then he'd be out for a couple weeks.
Because he was still being managed though. Yeah, ACL.
And it's a massive injury. I know. I had 4 last season. Yeah, and many are still recovering. So it's the worst type of injury that you can really have as a footballer. And it did change his game a little bit. But I think that it's probably time to move on. Like the Pep book is closed, and it's time. Like Enzo Maresca is there. He's going to set out what he wants and his Manchester City era to look like. They've just signed Elliot Anderson as well, who's obviously not a direct replacement because you can't necessarily replace Rodri, but the years and the mileage you'll get out of Anderson is great. And I do think, yes, it's a lot of money, but again, like I said earlier, I don't think we should keep talking about money and transfer transfer fees.
Yeah, what's done is done.
What's
Like,
done is done.
He's going to be
and fees are as much as someone wants to value a player at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it has gone crazy this year, this summer in particular.
It's been silly.
Really, really, really high. Let's finally turn our attention to Manchester United and Marcus Rashford because he's back in the squad. But before I give you my opinion, do you see a future for Marcus Rashford at Manchester United, or should he just not be there?
I do see a future, and I think that from discussions you and I have had, especially over the last 3 hours in particular, if anyone is going to be able to kind of reignite Rashford at Manchester United and his career there, it would be someone like Michael Carrick, because of the relationship they had when they played together, as you mentioned. So yes, I think that the problem with Rashford has been the lack of consistency, because we know what he can deliver. We know the form he can get himself into, and it's just having that. Sometimes I think he lives in his head a little bit. I think we've seen that. I also don't always love the fact that he's continuously been the scapegoat for Manchester United failures. So I think that the fact that he's back, he's got a squad number, he's going to feature. I would say that, it's not wipe the slate clean, because I think there's definitely sections of the fan base that are never going to kind of forget. But at the end of the day, he's one of your own. And if he can come back, and if he can, at 28 years old, he has still got the potential to not be the Marcus Rashford that you knew and wanted him to be and achieve what you wanted him to be.
He's a full-grown man now. It's not like, this is the Rashford that we wanted to. He's finally arrived.
But think about how long Rashford's been on the scene and what he has actually achieved as well.
10 years.
It's been a long, long time. So I don't think that it's a bad shout having him back. I think, again, it's no secret he would have liked to have had a move away. I would have loved to have him at Spurs, which earlier on in the show you said to me was a crazy shout. He would never come to us. Not entirely sure I agree with you on that, but I think if you can get the best out of Marcus Rashford, which I'm sure you and United fans across the board would agree has always been the frustration, then you've got a brilliant player there. It splits
the fan base, and I understand it. I think the biggest thing is the shock of we just didn't think we would be back in this position. Like, I don't think any Manchester United fan thought that there was a possibility that Marcus Rashford would ever play for Manchester United again.
It's the wages, though.
Exactly. So getting your head around that he's coming back after he said he doesn't want to be here, he wants a new start. Some of the situations he's been in, it's rubbed a lot of fans up the wrong way. But for me personally,
just to play devil's advocate on that, he's saying he wants a new start, but you would have been happy for him to have.
That's what I'm saying. But people forget that both parties wanted a split. So it really wasn't to be. So he's back. I hope he does well. He'll get a great reception, I'm pretty sure, on match days, and hopefully he does what he needs to do. Right, we're out of time. Transfer Insiders returns tomorrow night from 7 p.m. And don't forget, you can catch the show as a podcast on talkSPORT, on the talkSPORT app, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Abby, it's been 3 hours. We got through it. I don't know how.
How?
I wouldn't call it a pleasure, but I wouldn't call it that. But
can we be nice? Can we be nice for a minute?
Okay. Yeah, it was all right.
Thank
you.
Did you enjoy it?
No, it was funny. It was fun. It was fun. And it's going to be even more fun as well coming up round the corner, because the Sports Bar with Jason Cundy, he's back. He's full of beans. Chelsea are going to win the lot. They're going to do all this, then, and he's with Rory Jennings. So make sure you get involved. 03717 22 33 44.
Barcelona are now leading the race to sign Rodri from Manchester City, notwithstanding the loss that would be to City in a new era under Enzo Maresca. What's the latest on that? And is it the case that Real Madrid have dropped the ball here? Because it seemed to be, reading reports, that Real Madrid were in the driving seat with this one.
Yeah, Rodri wanted Real Madrid earlier in the window, and Florentino Perez hadn't decided what kind of midfielder he was going for, which is why several names were linked, including Enzo Fernandez, and Real had to issue a statement saying we've had no contact with Enzo Fernandez. Jose Mourinho came in. Finally, they got the mandate from Perez to start negotiating financially, but Barca have basically hijacked this, although some sources say Barca were there even before the window opened, and it was Real that kind of steamrolled in. And ultimately, Rodri, for family reasons, wants to go to Spain. But we've got a fascinating scenario now. Man City want to keep. Pep Guardiola never used to stand in players' ways, especially senior ones that had been long-serving and loyal to the club. But Enzo Maresca's new. And of course, if it's his say, he'll go to his board and say, keep him. If he doesn't renew, we'll let him leave on a free transfer in 2027. And now Barca are going to accelerate and bid, and they have full player buy-in. So Rodri wants Barcelona over Real Madrid, and I think there's a strong chance that this one happens. Man City are going to add another midfielder. Ayoub Boadi advanced talks. They've got other targets as well. Elliot Anderson has already come in. And in essence, it's whether City say Rodri deserves this move and follow that Pep Guardiola approach, or if they double down and say Enzo Maresca doesn't want him to leave, so we're going to make it really difficult.